you go, sir.
Thanks.
Barnacle head.
Pardon me?
You forgot your mayonnaise.
Thanks.
Look at them eating that garbage. It's disgusting.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Achievement Hunting 101. This is level 153. This is the podcast that confuses land monsters and sea monsters, and that may have to do with a certain movie that I may have just finished watching. Did you all miss me? Don't answer all that at once. I am, of course, Big L, aka L, and I missed the last two episodes. But thank you to all of our listeners that sent me cards, letters, faxes, and telegrams. I know you all missed me very much. We have here on the panel Nate, a.k.a. KooshMoose.
Yes.
All right, he's excited. We have Michelle, a.k.a. Matrarch.
Also, yes.
Okay, she's also excited. And last but certainly not least, we have everyone's favorite villain, Inigo Montoya, otherwise known as Matt. What up?
Elle, did you get the carrier pigeon that I sent during your absence?
I did, and normally you would put salt on a pigeon's wings, but there was some white sticky stuff on this. I mean, wait, get your head out of the gutter. It was actually mayonnaise.
Yes, it was.
Matt sent me a care package to my new house. That's why I was not around. I moved into a nice new house. I'm like, what did he send me? Is it going to be some video games? And it was something better than video games. It was food. So he sent me some Duke's mayonnaise. What's the significance of that, Matt?
Well, a while back we had a discussion about mayonnaise in the Discord. I forget what spurred it. Did.
Was it about how mayonnaise is the worst condiment? Because I missed this conversation.
All right, you're taking Kenny's place being a troll now.
Hey. Don't bring my name into this. I love mayonnaise. And Hellman's is the best.
Keep going.
No, I'm not being a troll. But go on. This is a very nice gift and very thoughtful.
It's.
But Duke's mayonnaise is a regional thing?
It would have been better if it had a lid on it, but to be fair.
Yeah, it was, half consumed. I will at least say that. But yeah, it is. Duke's is a regional mayonnaise. It can only be found in the southeast of the United States, and there are people here that literally treat Duke's mayonnaise almost like it's holy, for lack of a better term. They will die in defending it, and I know this because I almost lost my hand in a grocery store with my wife picking up a non-Duke's mayonnaise container.
Oh, lesson learned real quick there.
So, yeah, I have never seen her move that quick. And I've never been that fearful.
Now, I have to say, I'd never had Duke's mayonnaise before. Number one, I've never been one to pick mayonnaise as a hill to die on. But I have to say, Duke's is not bad. It's good. It's probably better than Hellman's. I guess I prefer it over Hellman's.
Oh, Silenzio, Bruno.
But I'm not. Thanks you. That's what I was trying to remember at the very beginning. It's like, well, what was the Bruno quote from Luca? I can't remember. Was it "Shut up, Bruno," or was it? I can't remember.
I mean, I think that it's not bad. It's good as a fine advertising campaign for Duke's mayonnaise, and you should probably submit that to their people.
Oh, I will say it is better than Hellman's.
All right, well,
a little bit better.
I look forward to trying it, but I do have an open Hellman's in the fridge, and I think there's a law about having two open mayonnaises at once. So.
Yeah, that would be weird. So don't do that.
It's a good thing we have no laws about having two unfinished games at once, because we'd all be in a lot of trouble.
Is that your way of saying we need to talk about?
She's hijacking
games?
our food podcast.
I
know.
Food gwaying.
Just for that, Michelle, you get to go first.
I shouldn't go first. I have one game to talk about. So, I mean, if you want me to go first, that'll be the only thing I'll get to talk about, and then I'll go take a nap until...
Go talk about it.
We'll talk about it?
I'll get you back in.
You'll get me back in? All right, fair enough. So I'll go first then. So honestly, since the last time I came on the podcast, I don't want to say I've been in a gaming funk, because I'm still playing a lot, right? And I think we all know this, right? We have these times where we're really high on our games and we're getting through a lot, and then we have these times where we just open up, and now Game Pass is the new cable for a lot of us, or Netflix, where now I have thousands of things to play and they all look unappealing, so I'm going to play the same one comfort game I go to or whatever. And that's kind of been the thing lately. So again, not a gaming funk insofar as not playing, but not really sinking my teeth into anything new. About noon today, I was having a bit of a crisis about, can I really go on the podcast and talk about the fact that I've mostly just played Gems of War for the last, 18 months? And it was suggested, just go in, pick something and play something and bring it. So I did that today. I was looking at Game Pass and seeing some of the quests we have available, and there was a quest for a game I was actually really excited about when news came out that it was going to hit Game Pass, and that game is Octopath Traveler. Any of you guys have any experience with this game?
I've had experience downloading it.
Me as well.
That was my experience going into about noon today. Matt, have you tried it at all? You dabbled?
I have not dabbled in Octopath Traveler. In fact, I know very little about the game.
So I was in the same boat. Octopath Traveler is a game published by Square Enix. It has some interesting DNA. It's developed, I believe, by members of the team who made Bravely Default. And in case you're not familiar with Bravely Default, because it was never on non-Nintendo platforms, I believe Bravely Default actually started its life as being a sequel to Final Fantasy, The Four Heroes of Legend, or something to that effect. So it originally was intended to be a Final Fantasy game, and then that didn't work out, and it became its own sort of thing. So sort of the reverse Star Fox Adventures, where it was a different game and then became Star Fox Adventures. And so it was popular, it did well, but these games have always been locked on Nintendo platforms, and such was the case for Octopath Traveler until it finally wandered onto Game Pass as a day one release back in March of this year. And it very much feels like an old school JRPG. So here was my immediate takeaway. And going back one more step. The hook of Octopath Traveler is there are 8 main characters. And if any of you are familiar with... Octo, yeah, see? But if any of you are familiar with Saga Frontier, it's similar to that in that you pick one of the 8 characters to play, and they have distinct stories you play. And I believe there are some points where they connect with each other, and there may be an overarching sense. But Octopath Traveler is more like 8 smaller RPGs contained within one bigger one, if I understand this correctly, because I didn't look into the game too much with it having been a non-Xbox title for so long. So I picked the character, of course, that's a scholar and a librarian, and his whole thing is, well, he's not a librarian, but
nice.
His whole quest involves going to the library and finding this missing book and what happened with this missing book. And my very initial takeaways were, I'm not sure I have the patience to play a JRPG anymore. Because the whole first 10 minutes is clicking through dialogue. The game is mostly voice acted. So big cutscenes are voice acted, but when you're walking around the town, most characters will just say like, hello, and then you'll read their text. And just hearing people read dialogue just seemed to be taking forever, and I'm like, okay, I need to stick with this because I need to talk about this game today. And once I was done with all that introductory stuff, and it started kind of just letting me play the game, it was like putting on an old pair of slippers, something really comfortable. And I was really enjoying it. Like, I set out to play for an hour, and I got to about 2, and then I was like, oh, I've got things to do before I record tonight. And some of the problem I'm engaging with now is it's a 100-hour game, according to TA. I don't think that's 100% true of Octopath Traveler. I think the game is really closer to 50 or 60, but there's an achievement for 100 hours. So, I've got to put in that extra time. But I'm looking forward to it, especially because you can break it down into these chunks and play the one character storyline and maybe give it a break and come back. If I haven't looked the achievement list too hard, I do know there are a couple of hour achievements in there. There are some missable achievements in there. There's one of those annoying collect all treasure missable achievements, which JRPGs seem to love, which is super unfortunate because achievement hunters, especially completionists, tend to shy away from achievement lists like that, which is, it's again really unfortunate because it seems to just be a really solid JRPG. Like the music is good and the feel of it is really good. The battle mechanics are interesting. You can build up these breaks and that'll allow you to do double damage and stuff. So like there's really cool stuff to dig into, and the list may turn people away. But just as a teaser, like, I'm loving it. I cannot wait to jump back in and dig more into this character's story. So, great Game Pass ad, and super happy that being on the podcast today got me to jump in and give that a shot.
How's the music?
It's beautiful. So, you know, everyone's familiar with the video game awards, right? That happens every year. And every year they give out an award for best soundtrack. And I typically have not played many of the games nominated that year, but frequently something like an Assassin's Creed game will get nominated. And when they play the soundtrack on the stage, it sounds gorgeous, but I can't tell you that I've ever heard that song in the context of the game. I think with so many games, there's just so much other noise and so many things happening that music gets lost. But JRPGs, the music, at least when we were growing up, because we're all the crew of olds here, right? So we're all Super Nintendo and earlier. The music was so important to telling the story of the game that it really had to put you in the place where you were at that moment. So if the town was a town that was bustling, the music was telling you that. It wasn't all these people standing around and milling and having conversations. It was the song that played. And Octopath definitely, you know, invokes those sorts of feelings as you're playing it, at least in my quick play of it.
No, you
Awesome.
bring up a really good point about the music, because it's something I've been thinking about over the past couple of weeks in a couple of the games I've been playing myself, where the music, you know, when you used to read reviews back in the day, they would say something about the music, but it's something you don't really necessarily see these days in reviews. Like, it's almost like an afterthought, generally, when you see that. And you hit it spot on about the old school games. The music was purposely dictated to tell you exactly what you were experiencing.
Right. And I think what I'm going to wind up doing as I continue playing this game, because I'm actually typically not a fan of voiceovers in especially my 2D style JRPGs, mostly because listening to text goes a lot slower than reading it. And I want to be able to read it and kind of move through. I think what I'm going to do is actually just mute the voice volume in the game entirely and just play it with all the voice volume set to 0. Octopath Traveler does suffer a little bit from what I've played in the sound of English dubbing, because it is a Japanese game, and if you're familiar with any Japanese to English content, there's sort of a sense that English voice actors try to sound like Japanese voiceover actors, and the cadence in English and Japanese is very different, and it sounds very forced and kind of silly sometimes. Not that the voice acting is bad, but it has that clear acting like tone to it instead of feeling kind of natural. You can choose to have the game voiced over in Japanese, though, if you'd prefer, but I think I'd find that distracting, so I think I'm just gonna turn off the voice volume altogether and just let the music tell the story.
All right. Did you get any more of a sense of the achievements outside of the 100-hour thing and
Octopath
treasure?
Travel, it has a lot of achievements. It has 88 achievements, I believe, sticking with the Octo theme.
Octo.
A lot of the achievements are tied up in story. I did look briefly at TA just to see missables and things like that, and I decided I'm going to go start it anyway. But there's a good number of missables. It's somewhere between 5 and 10, so it is a sizable part of the list, but because the list has so many achievements, it's not as bad as it could be. There are a couple of achievements based on hour count. Each character in the game has 4 chapters. There's one achievement for each of the 4 chapters for those characters, so that's 32 achievements that are tied up in just story gameplay. There's achievements for fighting a certain number of battles. You're going to get that kind of stuff naturally. So, quick glance at the list, you'll probably get something like 50 to 60% of them just playing through the game. So, if you can bear missables, even if you can't bear missables, like I have to play more of the game to really fully recommend it, because a lot can change by hour 10. But right now, I'm super glad I just went in and tried this game because I'm looking forward to getting through more of it.
Yeah, it looks like a very healthy number, 27,300 starters, but only 97 completions. So it's kind of sad in a way that you kind of, if you just want to sit down and play, you're going to miss stuff.
Well, if you look at the list too, in terms of what achievements are popped most frequently, there isn't like one runaway. That it's kind of split between finishing the first chapter of all 8 characters. So there isn't one character that people really super seem to gravitate to more than others. There was a demo released way back in the day on the Switch, and they picked 2 characters that were sort of like the key characters for that demo. And maybe people who played it on the Switch might pick them because that's what they knew from the game. It is easy to get on your tag, I will say that. So if you're looking to dabble in the game, I don't remember exactly what the first achievement I got was. Oh, each character has a special skill that you can use that you're tutorialed on like 15 minutes in. First time you use it, you're going to pop an achievement. So it's not missable. So if you're worried about possibly getting this on your tag and that's a thing for you, you don't have to play long before you get an achievement. One other thing about Octopath Traveler that I just want to put out there, it has a very interesting graphical style because it's 2D sprites walking on a sort of 3D plane, so there's some kind of depth, and I don't know that I always like it because there's a blurring effect used, and I don't know if that's a holdover from it initially being a Switch title or what it is. I don't know that I always love that look, but it's visually appealing, but I don't know if that's a little distracting to me. But otherwise, like, that's the biggest negative I have going in after this hour.
All right, that was Octopath Traveler. Nate, what have you been up to?
Well, I am so glad that Matrarch mentioned something that I was going to bring up with one of my games. I played 2 games I wanted to talk about, and I'll talk about the brief one first. Ikenfell. Now, Ikenfell is a Game Pass game, and it wasn't added to Game Pass too long ago, I think. I think we're talking just a few months. And it is marked as a role-playing turn-based. I started playing this game, and it is basically like a Paper Mario type game. It's an RPG, and as I was playing the RPG elements of it, I was just like, oh my gosh, I used to play games like this all the time. And now I just feel like they're a waste of time. I used to love them. I used to love Final Fantasy VII and Dragon Warrior and all these fun games like that. I used to just spend so much time with them. But these days, I just feel like it's a waste of time just sitting there scrolling through inane dialogue and just, like I would much rather be playing a platformer or some actiony, get out type game. And I was thinking, hey, maybe we should talk about that. And of course, you bring that up. You bring up that little comment, and I'm like, where I am right now in my life and in my gaming time, these games just feel like maybe not the best return on my time. Like, I still enjoy them, but the amount of enjoyment I get out of them is not as high. But
I think that all...
Maybe you guys have thoughts on that. Yeah.
I do, and I'm cutting you off to say it. My apologies. But I think that all speaks sort of to kind of the continual reckonings we have with our own gameplay and how we like our games and enjoy our games. And I think that's what I've been going through, that most of my gameplay has been playing something like Gems of War that I've put lots and lots of time into, and I'm still picking away at that game, or something like Rocket League, which I've completed already. And I think the sort of like jump in for an hour and play something quick or get a quick completion, I don't mind doing it, but that's not bringing me the most joy I can get out of my gaming time. And I think that was the experience I had when I was playing Octopath, is I was like, wow, it feels so good to start getting my teeth into something I'm going to stick with for a while. Like, this actually feels enjoyable. I'm not just playing it to play it or to streak extend or whatever. And I think I won't speak for you, Nate, but it seems like for your gaming, that's what you're enjoying about, is this vast variety of things we have, and the ability to go in and dabble here and dabble there. And sometimes you find something like an Ori that really gets your interest, but you're still in that for 8 hours and then you're out. There's no sense of being overwhelmed. And I think it just speaks to where we are at in what we're looking to get from our games in terms of the enjoyment we spend with them and the time that we have with them.
Yeah, for me, it's not so much like the just go dabble. Of course, I love to dabble. I love to check out everything that there is that I'm somewhat interested in or could be interested in. It's really about the gameplay, I think. Like my gameplay tastes have changed.
Sure. Absolutely.
And this one's it's just slower paced and it's like I have to keep clicking to get through the dialogue and
Now, Nate.
Yeah?
I hate to interrupt you here, but have you tried Geometry Wars?
Yes, geez. I have tried Geometry Wars. Of course.
Because that is the perfect get in for a little bit, get out, edge of your seat type gameplay.
Because you die in 10 seconds.
Wipe the blood off your eyes, go back in, do it some more. Yeah. No, I do like that game. I do like Geometry Wars. I need to... Well, I don't need to, but at some point I would like to go back and work on getting that completion.
But, I will say with Octopath, I didn't turn the corner on really beginning to enjoy it until I actually started getting random encounters. Does Ikenfell have random encounters, or is it like where you see the enemies on the map and you kind of avoid them? Like, it's strictly like the old school Final Fantasies are? Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like the old school. You have this overworld map that you're on, and you're just walking around. You see enemies on the field. You can run around them. If you don't want to combat them, they will chase you a little bit. And if they touch you, then you go into a combat. And the way combat works, you start off with just your main character, and you will slowly be adding people to the party. I currently have myself and one other person in the party. But for the good half hour to maybe an hour, somewhere in that middle, between half an hour and an hour, is when you get your second character. But for that first bit, you're playing just by yourself. The combat board is 3 rows long and about 15 columns. So each one of these places you can move to. So the combat is position based. Your attacks take place in different geometric patterns on that board. So sometimes it makes more sense to be on the top row. Sometimes it makes more sense to be on the bottom. Because you can position yourself so you can hit multiple characters at a time, multiple enemies at a time. Sometimes some of your spells, like your second character gets a healing spell, and it works in kind of a brackets fashion, like a less than bracket and a right than or a greater than bracket on either side of you. And so you can't hit like a whole row of people in front of you, but if they're aligned correctly, you could hit 3 people if they were, offset by a little bit on the board. So that's not the greatest description, but each attack has a different shape, and you want to be familiar with those shapes and be the right distance away from your enemies to kind of make the most use out of them. I don't want to talk too much about the bosses that you fight, but all the achievements are tied to beating boss encounters, and they're like regular combat. It's just the enemies have a little bit more health, and typically those bosses are also able to summon in other enemies that you have to fight. So you can't just try to take them down. It's not like in Final Fantasy VII where you're just like attacking, healing, using a potion, attacking, blocking, that sort of thing. Now you are dealing with these weak, these low HP minions that you have to make sure you clear out. Don't let them hurt you too much while still trying to focus on the boss. And I likened it to Paper Mario in that you have different actions that you can do while you're doing your menu-based combat. So yeah, you can select who you're going to attack, where you're going to attack, with what attack. And then when you go to do it, each attack animation is different. Like you start off with one spell that has like a circle that kind of shrinks. And once it gets to a dot in the middle, you have to press the A button to get max damage. Another one, you're shooting something from the sky, and you just have to wait for it to come down. And right when it's about to hit them, you press the A button and you get max damage. Same thing for defense. Enemies attack different ways. Sometimes it's a straight shot at you. Other times it's kind of like a sine wave coming towards you, and you just have to time your button presses to reduce incoming damage. So it's pretty cool. It just, to me, at this time, it just seems like it is maybe a little bit slower paced than I want it to be. But I'm going to keep playing it for a little bit. I don't know if I'm going to get all the way through it in my first shot. I might play it and come back to it. But it's not too bad, and it's kind of cute. Well, I should say it's very cute. The way you save is you go pet a cat. That's kind of cool. So you pet a cat, and the cat calms you, and you get your HP back.
That is very adorable.
Says, do you want to save? Yeah. so that's a cute little game. But yeah, if you're kind of into I just thought it was really funny that I was thinking this as I was playing it. I was like, oh, maybe I'm just beyond these games. Like, they just don't give me the same amount of fun back as my action-y games. But yeah, it was kind of funny that you mentioned that. And that was Eichenfell.
I've felt that way for a long time about JRPGs, where it's definitely been like, you know what, it's just a bygone era and in my gaming. But for the last 15 years almost now, it's been that bygone era, and some, tastes can still continue to change and go back. But I completely understand I probably would have said the same thing you're saying right now if I was talking about this game a year ago, because it's just in a different spot. So I totally get it. It makes all sorts of sense. I'm
talking about the music. It was so low in the background, I couldn't really tell
if the
music was good or not. Yeah. So it seemed like the mix wasn't too great with this, but maybe I'll pay more attention to that when I go back.
Very cool.
Yeah, so when you say it was like a waste of your time, it's not so much that you dislike the game so much as you could be playing several other games in the same time span. It's
not a waste of my time, and it's not that I could be playing so many other games in that amount of time. Right. It's just that the amount of fun I get back for the time I invest is not as great as the amount of fun I get back from, Assassin's Creed right now. Like completing that game, or my twitchy games like Rising Hell or something like that. I'd like to put some more time into grinding against that. And yeah, I'm getting about as far in that game as I am in Eichenfell in that amount of time. But for some reason, the Twitch gives me more enjoyment.
So
I understand.
If you were talking to somebody who's really into JRPGs, like that is what they play, how do you feel Eichenfell would rate to them? Is this something you would easily recommend to them? Or do you feel like these battle mechanics are maybe a little bit too complicated? Is it like, do you think the typical JRPG gamer where that's their thing would find enjoyment in Eichenfell?
I would say that they would say, "Oh, that's cute. Baby's first JRPG."
Okay.
And then they'd want to go dig into Octopath Traveler.
No, I guess. All right. Could I ask one question about Eichenfell?
Sure. This was the brief one of the two, right?
Yes, this is the brief one.
So, if you took this out of Game Pass, does it warrant a $19.99 price tag?
For some people, not for me. I would feel like that was maybe not the best use of my money at $20.
Okay.
All right. Thank you for that nice talk about Eichenfell. Matt, you promised me you would not talk about any racing games. Let's see if you hold true to that. What do you got to talk about?
I lied to you, El.
Damn it.
Yes. That was most definitely a lie. I've dabbled, and the reason I'm going to talk about this game, and it's a little bit more personal, I think, than other racing games, because anybody who, and El, I've known you for quite some time, and Michelle, I've also known you for quite a while. I'm a fairly staunch completionist, okay?
No.
I'm the one that shies from unobtainables. I don't like them. Don't like to see them on my tag. Tend to avoid them like the plague. But when it comes to racing games, that philosophy kind of goes out the window, and I will give a racing game a shot, even if it has an unobtainable. So let's
you've got those leaderboards to chase, right?
Exactly. So let's usher in Moto Racer 4. This is a very interesting game. It has 4 unobtainable achievements. It's had 4 unobtainable achievements since it launched in 2017. And I started it back late last year and shelved it because there is a nasty 10-player achievement in it. You need to play with 10 people online. It's a dead game. So when those opportunities come along, you tend to strike while the iron's hot, so to say. And was able to get that 10-player achievement, and now I'm picking it back up again. So it tries to do some interesting things. It as you're racing around, you have to basically execute wheelies and landings and such, and when you do it, it gives you like this small window. It's a timed window where you have to you have to press the A button. Okay, it's not a QTE. I guess in essence it is a QTE, but you have to hit A right as your meter gets to a certain point so you can maximize your turbo. And by doing that, it will make you faster throughout the race. I'm not particularly fond of the mechanic, but it's the way they design the game. It can become very complicated very quickly as you're trying to zip around a track with some very aggressive AI. And it becomes a handful. So the good news is I started playing the game and got a whole lot of confidence into it and said, wow, this isn't as bad as the ratio suggests that this game is. The game is sitting at a 7,000 TA right now, and flying through it in about a night and a half, I am up to 40 of the 46 achievements I can get in this game. Okay, wow. Rolling. So for GTA SCers out there that can stomach a racing game, not a bad one to put on your radar, not going to lie to you. And then all of a sudden I hit a wall. And there's this one-time trial in the game that is absolutely insane. So the time I have to hit is 3 minutes and 54 seconds. The fastest time I've recorded in this race is 4 minutes and 3 seconds.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's not even... I take it there are no good YouTube videos you can look at for shortcuts, huh?
Oh, no. There's so little information on this game. And even the one video I did find, I don't notice anything noticeably different that this person is doing in their race that I'm not doing. And I'm trying to figure out how to shave 9 seconds off of it. So I hit this major wall with this game where the difficulty just went through the roof. All in all, Motor Racer 4, it's not a great game. I wouldn't recommend it if you're trying to get into any type of motorcycle racing game. It is one I did want to talk about. They have another game that they produce called ATV Drifts and Tricks. It's much better done, in my personal opinion. It's similar in concept, but the difficulty is not there if you want to experience it. But again, it not a bad game for G-Task purposes. Aside from that, I would avoid it. You know, I wouldn't really recommend it to anybody that, you know, kind of like what Koosh, you know, just said. This is, you know, not baby's first RPG. This is not baby's first motorcycle game. It's the exact opposite, okay?
I mean, it seems to be... It says a lot when you have a game, in this case, that is 4.5 years old now, right? Motor Racer came out early 2017.
Yes.
And you are number 7 on the overall leaderboard on TA for the game. Like, overall. With whatever... Obviously, there are unobtainables, but you haven't finished everything that's obtainable. And you're in that top 10 panel on TA.
Yeah. And all of that was accomplished in a night and a half. And the only thing that stonewalled me is that one-time trial to pave the way for the rest of the achievements.
Right, it looks very...
So, and you're right, though. It does say a lot that 4.5 years, here I am 4.5 years later, and I'm 7th on the board.
Looking at the achievement list, I see that it notes there are certain chapters, there are stars... There are challenges. So is there like a campaign mode you have to go through and then you earn stars throughout this campaign, or are these distinct things?
Yeah, no, that's actually a really good question. It has this really strange mechanic in it. And anybody that's played a racing game, you know, it's get the standard okay, if you come in first place and meet the requirements, you get 3 stars. So it is broken down into chapters. You have chapters 1 through 11. But they and I don't know exactly what the developer was trying to do with this, because on the surface it could have made sense, but I feel like they disconnected somewhere. Mm-hmm. So when you go into your race, you have 3 objectives, and it's essentially, it's always time, okay? For the most part. So what you do before you start the race is you bid on how fast you're going to finish that race. So your bid is, if you're going to go for first place, you bid, you're going for the 3 stars. Mm-hmm. If you fail to meet that goal, you actually lose 3 stars.
Oh. Wait, you lose stars that you already gained from previous...
Well, that would have made sense.
Oh.
That would have made sense. No, it's just for that race. So if you fail it, the game shows you that you lost 3 stars, but if you run the race again and then succeed, you actually gain the 3 stars. You don't have to do it twice to get back to even, and then do it again to actually go plus 3 stars. You'll go plus 3 stars if you're successful on your next attempt. So it's almost like a redundant mechanic in the game.
Okay.
And it didn't make a whole lot I could see where it would have made sense if they implemented, okay, if I failed on my first one and I went negative 3 stars, I would essentially have to do that race twice to get back to positive 3 stars. Now that would make sense. Or I would lose 3 stars from a previous race. And I would have to go, I would have to keep racing to earn more stars. But they didn't design it like that. It's almost like it has no negative effect, even though you're bidden at the start of the race. So really, you just go into it and say, okay, I'm going for 3 stars every time. You didn't even have to think about it because there was no repercussion if you failed.
Okay. So another question: you're I think self-confessed to be good at these types of games. You might be stubborn as well, but you actually are skilled at racing games. According to TA, you've put 3 hours and 9 minutes into Motor Racer 4 and have earned almost 5,000 TA score on it, so about 4,100 TAD. Is that hour count, you think, actually an accurate reflection? And is that because... Do you feel like that's because you kind of have a knack for these games or use them? Or do you think it's reasonable to think for most people that within 4 hours, that's an attainable goal if they wanted to start Motor Racer 4?
No, that counter is not right.
Okay. It didn't look like
updated.
It would be, but...
Yeah. It's more realistically, I should probably be around the maybe 10-hour mark, realistically, right now.
Okay.
I don't know why, and I had another game, because somebody, and I forget which game it was, somebody called me out because my timer stopped working, and it said I completed a game in an hour. It may have been Aftercharge. I think that the timer stopped working on it, and somebody called me out and said, oh, you completed it in an hour, there's no way. Well, the timer stopped working on that game, and I don't know why the timers aren't working correctly for most, it's been a couple of games here over the past couple of weeks.
Okay.
But again, Motor Racer 4, I would, steer clear of it. Even if you're looking for I doubt many on the panel, but there are people I do know. There are a couple of guys in the Discord that do listen to the podcast that do enjoy the racing games. I would stay away from Motor Racer 4 altogether. Not worth the time, effort, and energy, because that wall is pretty massive when you hit it.
I was going to ask facetiously where the other 3 Moto Racer games were, but I just did a quick Google search, and Moto Racer 3 came out in 2002.
Yeah.
Who was asking for this? You?
Wow. What?
I can tell you it was not me.
Yeah, it came out on PC CD-ROM.
I didn't know the full history. I do know it was an older franchise.
Yeah. It's so random.
Yeah, completely random game. Now, honestly, the developer and the publisher for this particular game have a little bit of a nasty history with unobtainable achievements. So again, it's...
Yeah, so these 4 unobtainables are for programming.
Yeah, and I did
couple
say...
of onlines,
I think it was a poor port at the end of the day.
Yeah.
I will say one thing. The one time I was glad unobtainables, because the 4 that are not obtainable, they look like they'd be pretty grindy. and not something that I'd want to do.
Oh,
anyways.
come on.
Yeah,
100 online wins? That's easy.
Yeah, especially with a server as hopping as the Moto Racer 4 servers clearly are.
All right. That was Moto Racer 4, and I suppose it is my turn. So I've been out for a couple of weeks. What do I want to talk about? Of course, a rat. What else? This is what I've been having time to play during the move. I played Sumatra, Fate of Yandi, which is a point-and-click game reminiscent of the 1980s style. Even basically as the font of the Monkey Island games. You play as Yandi, and you get separated from your friend, and you go out into the jungle to find him. And I think you speak a different language. All kinds of things going on. You're in the jungle. There's tigers. There's elephants. There's all crazy stuff. And you're like, yeah, let me just go find some items to get these creatures out of my way. So it's an old school point and click style. You could right click everything and it would examine it, or you could left click stuff to use it, just like a normal point and click. I enjoyed right clicking everything because there was some humorous stuff. So it kind of reminded me of Guard Duty, except there was no voice acting. It was all reading, which, like you said earlier, then you could just read at your own pace and kind of spam through and read. I did use a written guide from Steam, but the way I did it, so basically I saw what to do, so then I did everything else first. So I just clicked all the wrong stuff to see what was around. The game had a lot of cool programming, so for example, you find a key and there's a door that it goes into, and you just mess around and put the key in a nearby car, it'll say, no, the key will not start this car. So they knew you're going to do stupid stuff like that. Or they knew I would do stupid stuff like that. And it accounts for it. So I like that. Whoever programmed this game, though, there are 2 save slots, only 2. And in order to save your game, you need to delete the saves manually first. So it's a real headache. Just very silly. Other than that, I have no real complaints. I like the story. There were some twists and turns and stuff like that. I wasn't really digging it at first, but I grew to like it.
I have to know.
You have any questions? Because I'll
how
just go.
Football.
Look at this hour.
No, I'm not. How this compares to Cloak and Dagger games,
funny one.
Other smash hit football game. And do you remember
football game is way better.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, football game is way better. has that cheerleader. That's all you need to know.
Another point and click extravaganza published by Ratalaika.
So this one is in the Sumatra's in the 1 to 2 hour variety. So it's a little bit longer than usual, but you have to go through the whole game. I learned that the Steam version had 2 extra achievements that the Xbox version does not have, thankfully, because they are luck-based achievements.
Oh no!
Which at some point you find this computer, and there's a random what do you call it? Rock paper scissors type game on there, and it's completely luck-based. You have to get a high score and then a streak, winning a certain amount of times in a row. So, thankfully, they got rid of those achievements. So I learned that those were in the Steam version now.
Now, do you find when you're playing this, just as a quick side note question, and we talk about this all the time, whether it's on the podcast or it's in the Discord, that the problem with all these Ratalaika games being 0 to 2 hours is we run through them at a fast pace, and then at the end of the day, none of them stand out, right? So if somebody asks you your opinion on Sumatra a month and a half from now, you may not remember. Is that the case with this one? Does this feel kind of samey like that? Or like, you reference Guard Duty a lot, because that's a Ratalaika game that it is Ratalaika, right? It stood out to you because the humor and whatever else was in that. Or is Sumatra going to kind of fall in that category of not memorable, quick completion, just blew through it?
It's a good question, but the reason I picked it is because it was pretty decent.
Okay.
Otherwise, I would have just told you get the score and move on.
Okay.
So I enjoyed it. It's a $7 game. I would wait for it to go probably half that. There's no real replay value, obviously, to speak of. So you get in and get out, but in 2 hours instead of 10 minutes. The other thing I decided to do was to finally complete Carrion. Now, I knew Messenger was leaving Game Pass, but I wasn't going to have time to get that done. But I had noticed a couple months ago that Carrion came out July 23rd, so I wanted to be ahead of that just in case it went away after the 1 year time. So I went ahead and completed both the Xbox version and the Windows 10 stack. So I went about it in a weird fashion. I had done Carrion up to basically the end, but I didn't get all the last containers or finish the game. But it had been a few months since I did that, so I basically went through the Win 10 version following Bill's video guide, because his video guide is only 2 hours. So I said, if I just follow this to the letter, I can bang this out really quickly. And sure enough, it was really quick. And I had remembered most of what to do, but it just, I tend to get lost a lot, so I just followed him around. And then the achievements I had left, I got them all at the same time and got the completions for both at the same time. And I don't think I'd ever done anything like that, so it was fun to do that.
Very nice. It's smart to have done it that way.
What's interesting to note... Thank you. What's interesting to note is that 75,000 people have played the Carrion with 11,000 completions. But the Win 10 version, only 12,000 people have played it with only 2,000 completions. So not that many people have bothered to do the stack. But I think it's well worth doing if you're a fan of the game, because it's probably going to go bye-bye next month. I know we've talked about this one to death, but I think you should play this Inigo before it goes away. Since last time you were on, you wanted to hit up a Vayner. This is a good one. It's not long. There's no missables. You don't have to worry about anything. I think it's a real solid pick for you to go through.
Yeah, I'm actually going to give that one a try.
Yeah, don't use a guide. Maybe Lindsay can watch you play. I think it's got a little horror theme. Maybe if you get scared, she could put her arm around you, stuff like that. That's how it goes.
That is exactly how it goes in this house.
I'd love to hear you with the girly scream.
Lindsay has heard it. Not many have. Lindsay has heard it.
Yes, when she almost chopped your hand off from not taking that Duke's mayonnaise.
I was almost afraid to say or do anything at that moment.
The other potential benefit of playing Carrion, if you're trying to get ahead of a removal from Game Pass, and I know I've said this before, but I'm just going to say this one more time if people are listening and they're curious about Carrion, it is not a good game to put down and come back to. There isn't a map built into the game. It's designed super well in terms of you always kind of get put exactly where you need to be, but especially if you're doing cleanup at the end, picking up the different power-ups that are optional, it is hard to come back to Carrion 5 weeks later, 6 weeks later, because you're just not going to remember what all this stuff does, and there's no map to indicate where to go. So if you do choose to start it, and it's chasing that removal from Game Pass, that's a great way to make sure you stay focused and you hit up the game in one go, which is really when you're going to get the most enjoyment out of it, I think.
Yeah, and that's why I wound up just guiding it up, getting them both done. Got the containment units at the end. That's when you do the cleanup. And if you didn't remember where you were, at least each level tells you. There'll be a check mark if you got the containment unit in that area or not, so you'll know.
That's good.
All right. Koosh.
Yes.
You definitely played a game in which it will definitely not be brief.
I'll try to.
We ran through that last time. Go ahead. Be as brief or not brief as you want to be. Talk to us.
So you had mentioned the way you were playing Carrion to get rid of the stack. I was thinking the same thing with the Messenger. Okay, I played a bunch of the Messenger on PC. Maybe I'll go back and just start the Xbox version, play through that, and then come back and do cleanup on the PC. Well, I didn't do that, and I tried to pick back up on the PC, and that went okay. I thought, okay, I'm going to the beach. I will take my laptop. I will play the PC version of the Messenger on my laptop. I will get that completion before the end of the month. Well, it helps to do updates before you take your PC away to a place that has horrible internet.
Oh, no.
And also, when you try to play something on Game Pass, it helps if your internet is not horrible. So I was trying to play the browser version of Game Pass, and that was just not working at all for just about everything I tried. And then it occurred to me, well, maybe my PC is just garbage. So I switched to the phone. And I started playing Game Pass on my phone, and it was better. I won't say it was great. It was playable. Now, I realized this on like the last day or two of my vacation. So I didn't know what to play really. I had my Kishi with me, which was great. So I was actually able to see the screen instead of touch the screen and have my thumbs be in the way of the action. So I fired up River City Girls. I had been saving this game because I knew I liked old school, River City Ransom. I haven't played any of the other ones, I don't think. But River City Ransom back on the NES was really fun. Really enjoyed that type of beat 'em up. River City Girls is by Way Forward Technologies, who, if you know the podcast, you know I love Way Forward Technologies. Just so many of their games are made for me. And this game is one of them.
Yay.
So once again, this is a beat 'em up. The music is great. The anime theme throughout the whole thing is great. Just everything about this game is awesome. The combat is good. It's not groundbreaking or anything, but it develops as you go along. As you get more money, you can go to dojos and you can buy new skills as you level up. And that will basically increase your combo chains and it will give you other ways to attack. One of the very first things you get is the ability to attack behind you with a donkey kick. So that's great for when you're getting surrounded by enemies and you just need to kind of clear the one behind you and focus on the one in front of you. The humor is pretty good. It's pretty funny. I wouldn't say it's hilarious, but it's not one of those where you're just like, oh my gosh, they're trying too hard. And as far as the achievements go, you can pop one really easily just by, number one, being bad at the game. So if you're really bad at the game and you get into the very first room and you die, that's an achievement. Now you can go back and do that at any point. So if you're good at the game or okay at the game and you get out of that first room alive, you can go back to that room later and just die in that room, and that's an achievement.
That's a 3 ratio achievement to die in that first room.
Well, I think people don't know that.
Exactly.
Right? They don't know that. And then they don't want to go back to it.
One.
They don't want to go back to it. So this is, the game isn't like, let's say like a Double Dragon, right? Where you start, you move from left to right. Sometimes you go up, but mostly it's left to right. And then once you're done that, you can never go back.
It has an interconnected map.
Yes, it has an interconnected map. I don't think there's a double jump yet, although you can do a wall jump and that acts as a double jump. However, I think people just didn't want to backtrack. They probably also didn't go back and get all the stuff that you can get in the first area, but that's neither here nor there. As far as the achievements, they're mostly progression based. So, get to this next area, beat this boss, those sorts of things. There are a couple co-op achievements, and all of it is local co-op. There is no online co-op to that. I know that upsets some people. You only need 2 controllers, because there's only 2 people that you can play as at a time. And all of the co-op achievements can be cheesed. So I was able to, in one of the achievements, I was able to grab a dodgeball on my second controller, throw it to my first controller, and catch it. It took a couple tries, and I think I did it before the achievement popped for me, because I kept doing it, and the achievement wouldn't pop, and then I went and I looked, and sure enough, I had it. So that one was a little funky. There's some other achievements like that, and then there's ones for beating the game in co-op. You can just take your second controller and park it in the corner and beat the boss. I haven't done that yet. I think I'm in the second or third area. I think the third area. But yeah, it is a great beat 'em up game. It's colorful. I get pegged for saying colorful, but it is colorful and it is fun and it is vibrant. There's a lot going on. in all of the screens. There's little secrets to be found, like little secret passageways you can go through. So if you spend more time with this game, you will be rewarded for that. And there's a stack. So you can do this twice in Game Pass. And yeah, River City Girls, really liking it. I also saw that there's going to be a sequel. So
Yes.
So love these guys. Way Forward Technologies. Thank you.
Yeah, Way Forward is definitely one of those everything they touch is gold developers, in my opinion.
Oh yeah. Indivisible. Awesome.
Michelle, we need to get back to this one.
Yeah, we started this a long time ago, but achievements don't pop in local co-op for both people.
Yes.
It's host only. So I don't have the game on my tag, even though I've played it, because it it only pops host only.
Yeah, we played it together in February 2020, before the world went to poop. And now that we're allowed to hang out again, I'm going to have to put you to work here.
Well, I should probably also mention, since I was talking about playing it on my phone, I should probably mention it did really well on there. Like, it wasn't like stunning. I wouldn't prefer to play it there, but it was way playable on bad condo internet.
I could just see you like
couldn't do it.
on the beach, standing in the ocean, playing on your phone, being careful not to drop it in. I could see you doing that.
Yeah, minus the part about going on the beach. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, except for that part. Oh, yeah. I wanted to echo what you said about the music. I actually, from time to time, listen to this game's soundtrack on Spotify. It is awesome. And there's even a couple of tracks that are remixes from River City Ransom. So there's a lot to love there.
They said they took the anime angle and they totally 100% went with it. And they committed, and it's great.
All right. Matt, you had a second game?
Yeah, I have started back into State of Decay 2. And I'm pretty sure this has probably been covered in the past.
Another host-only achievement game. Jerk.
Yeah, I found that out on Saturday.
Oh.
I was in a friend of mine's game, and we were kind of running around and, really just having just all-around fun is what we were doing. And found out that, yeah, some of the achievements will not unlock if you are playing in somebody else's game. So most of them will.
Come on, Microsoft.
Some of them will.
Some will?
But, yeah, some of them will. Okay. But some of them, we did have we found out the hard way, but we just, my friend had the game completed and we're just playing for fun. So we just loaded up My World and went in and started. It's a pretty good game. And I'm trying to go into it with an open mind because I was a little sour with the first State of Decay. Not that it was a bad game. I'm not a fan of permadeath mechanics. And I feel like they're, and much like Nate said earlier, we have, as adults, like X amount of time to play video games. And the last thing you want to do is invest a bunch of time and build a character up just to have them killed. And then you're essentially starting all over again. Not a huge fan of that mechanic, but I'm trying to be a little bit more open-minded with State of Decay 2. But it made me a little sour, because they incorporate that into it. And I feel like it's... Okay, I don't know how anybody wants to take... I feel like it's a disrespect of my time, is what it is, when you build a mechanic like that into a game.
Is that the only... Because, I know some games like Diablo, right, have that sort of Iron Man run where your character isn't persistent, you lose everything. But that's a specific game mode that you can choose to engage in. That's not the case here. This is always the gameplay mechanic.
Yes. In the campaign mode, it is. And
yeah, that's really rough.
It is. It's rough, because like I said, you could get, you spend a little bit of time building a character up, and one bad moment, could just ruin everything for you. And again, you're starting over. And it's... like I said, I struggle with those types of things. But I will say, as a game, State of Decay 2 is actually it's a good game. Don't get me wrong. Like, it's, obviously it's a Microsoft stalwart at this point. Kind of right up there with the Forza series. Like, this is one of their anchors, and I'm trying to give it a little bit more love and attention, if you will. But I did enjoy my time, because the co-op element, and again, I think everybody would be in agreement, if you can play online with somebody, it makes a game infinitely better, no matter how bad the game is. And going through it with a buddy of mine, it's making the game a lot more enjoyable. And he knows a lot about the game, so he's, teaching me the ins and outs and what to do, what not to do, what to watch out for. Because there's quite a few pitfalls in the game. Some of the enemies can be very tough. The difficulties can be very tough. As the ratio kind of represents, this is not something, for the fate. Yes, there are modded weapons, but that only gets you so far. You could still make mistakes with modded weapons. It doesn't make you invincible.
Absolutely.
Because they have this interesting thing, and he was explaining it to me. When you're driving around in a car, basically, when you get to your destination, get out of the car. Don't ever just stay in a car, because if you do, one of these, and again, my knowledge of some of the enemies, there's a lot in this game. There's many different layers to this game, but I want to say it's like a bloater type zombie. If they get too close to the car, they let out this gas, this toxic gas, and if you're in the car, by the time that gas hits you, and you go through the animation of getting out of the car, you will be dead. So it's the whole stress of it was, when you get to your destination, get out of your car immediately. Don't waste time to assess anything that's going on, because something bad can and will probably happen. So
I know you said some things about these mechanics in the game, like with the car and your death is permanent kind of thing. Are there any quality of life improvements from your first State of Decay? Because you've played both, right? So is there anything that makes 2 more playable, more accessible, anything like that?
I will say they added a ton to the game. There's, as far as like your bases go, what you could do to develop your bases, and the different areas that you might want to, like you have to get food sources, you have to get ammo sources, health sources, because you're building up a base, and you have this group of survivors, and you have to take care of them. But they improved all of that. I mean, there's a lot more depth to State of Decay 2. Now, the quality of life, I would say it is much improved, given how much they packed into the game. So, some of the menu systems, like when you're trying to change your weapon, can be a little difficult still. It was like that in the first one. It's still like that, but everything else has been great. I would say the improvements have been fantastic in the game. I've been enjoying it more than the first one.
That's always good news. Now, the third one is on its way. It's scheduled to come out this year. Are you anticipating that? Are you more in a wait and see? You're gonna finish State of Decay 2? Is it, other than the permanent death thing, is there anything from 2 that you'd like to see changed before the third one comes out?
That animation thing with the car and everything, like that, permadeath aside, that shouldn't exist in a game either.
Right.
Where you kind of have to be, because it kind of, takes away from what you're actually trying to do and the enjoyment that you're trying to have when you go up to a place. Because you got to scout a little bit and kind of see what's going on around you. So you want to take everything in, your surroundings, your area, what's everything in a whole 360-degree scope. You want to see everything that's going on around you. But I feel like those elements, they might need to shore that up a little bit, and maybe make the cars a little bit more durable too.
Those sound good.
Yeah, it is a lot of fun. I will say one thing: there's something so satisfying when you get 4 people into that game, and you're all riding around in a car. You have 3 people swinging their car doors open to slap zombies on the road to get them out of the way. There is something very satisfying about that.
It sounds like an excellent team building activity.
It
Like
really,
get your coworkers into the game who never play games and just be like, guys, just open the doors.
Just keep opening your car doors while this person's driving so we can knock all these zombies away. You got the one person driving and they're running full tilt down the road and you have 3 people flailing car doors. It provides for... It doesn't get old. I don't know what it is. There's something very satisfying about going through that moment.
All right. State of Decay 2 sounds wonderful. At least it's better than How to Survive.
Oh, yeah.
God. All right. Well, we had a bombshell dropped on us today that a total reliable delivery service got one singular DLC achievement added, so a lot of us lost our completions. It looks like you decided to go ahead and pick this DLC up. Matt, what's the scoop with this?
I'll tell you, it's not just a DLC, but they completely they almost overhauled the game. They changed all the menu systems. For those that have played it before, there was vehicles, kind of dotted around, airplanes, helicopters, stuff like that, cars that were dotted around the map. Now you have to go talk to somebody to unlock them. They don't just show up when you spawn into your game. Now the stuff in your garage is still there, but the like the pre-placed vehicles on the map, those are all behind this wizard that you have to go talk to in each area to unlock them.
Wow, that's interesting. Because sometimes you'd pull over like that biplane that's in an area and bring it to another mission to make the mission easier to accomplish.
Yes.
In case anyone who's listening is not familiar with Totally Reliable Delivery Service, the whole hook of the game is that you deliver packages using sort of a human fall flat type mechanic, but to equate it to human fall flat is not fair to human fall flat. It's a lot less refined in how it moves, but having these different modes of transport on the map makes a lot of these deliveries easier. So that sounds like that's going to make the game take longer to get yourself situated because you can't kind of shortcut.
You're not wrong. Now, like you said, you still have the stuff in your garage. Like, if you unlocked the UFO previously, you can go to your garage, but the static vehicles around the map are non-existent until you talk to the wizard, and then on top of it, you have money in your bankroll, which I don't remember previous to the update, money type system, and maybe I just wasn't paying close enough attention, but you have to pay the wizard to unlock that stuff.
Oh.
So
did you already have money, like, from your previous deliveries that you had done?
Yeah, I did have a bankroll of 10,000 and some change in the game, and I don't know if it was there before, but I don't remember using it. So
I don't recall it.
Yeah, and so I can't really necessarily speak to that. But again, it's very strange, because when you open up the game, everything is just right from the beginning menu is completely different. And they introduce these power-ups, and it's funny that you mentioned Human Fall Flat. The mechanics of the game obviously were never meant to be crisp. I feel like they got worse. Yeah.
I was going to ask if they're any better, because they're exceptionally janky. There's a good core of something that could be fun in Totally Reliable Delivery Service, but the controls are just so janky and inconsistent. It did not get any better.
I felt like it got worse.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, as I was playing it, I don't know what it is, but it just felt like my character was just flying around aimlessly. As I was trying to do some of the simplest tasks. We're not even talking about just like simple stutter movements that you come to expect from the game.
Well,
it was outrageous.
So, like, speaking of the tasks, what's actually the one achievement that was added to the game? What did you have to do for that?
So they introduced power-ups to the game.
Mm-hmm.
So once you talk to this wizard, he'll unlock the power-up machines in each area. Well, in order to get the power-ups, you have to go in... They're not deliveries, you just have to... They're like mini-games, if you will. Like, one of them was you have to, you stand on a rooftop. It's the first one. It's like the tutorial of these... They call them events in-game. And you stand on the roof of the building, and these bomb strikes are coming in, these missile strikes, and you have a radius that shows up. You can't be within the radius, and you have to survive on the roof of the building for 2 minutes to get the power-up. And once you get it, you will permanently have it. So you have to get 5 of those power-ups, so you basically have to go around and do 5 of these mini-games to get the power-ups. And each power-up does... obviously something different. Like, I got, in my game, everybody can take a different approach, but I ended up getting a helmet, like a pair of boots, set of wings. Yeah. The boots, I'll tell you, I'm going to let everybody enjoy that. I'm not going to spoil it for anybody. and enjoy those.
Now, you had mentioned before...
So it looks...
Go ahead, Al.
What's that, Al?
I was just going to say, the solution says you need to buy the dress code DLC and the stunt set DLC. So what is that, like $8 or $9?
Yeah, it was $9. You can buy them individually. They're $4.50 individually. And you would think $9 for 2. But they have a package called the Express Package that has a third DLC, which is all cosmetic. Yeah, if you're going to buy the DLC, you might as well just buy the Express Package, because you're going to buy the other 2 anyways. So
such a kick in the teeth, a 15G achievement.
It's awful.
Hopefully they'll add more
I'm thinking that they will probably add more updates surrounding this. That's at least my gut feeling. If they did this, my instinct is telling me this is not the end of this DLC.
Now, you had mentioned... before we hit record, that you had tried playing this with a friend of yours. Achievements can only be earned by the person who purchased the DLC, correct? There's no way to jump into someone's world and be the beneficiary of what they have?
That is correct. And it may be a host-only situation. We didn't have enough time. He did own the DLC and have it installed.
Oh, wow.
But as he equipped the 5 items that I had already unlocked, his achievement did not unlock in my game.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, so it's difficult to say definitively right now if it has to be a host only. I know Survivalist had mentioned that you can do it in somebody else's game if they have it unlocked. I don't know what exactly was happening and what we might have done wrong. So... somebody else is saying that you can do it. At least that's what I read in the Discord. It can be done. But we didn't have that same experience.
Well, your friend... Did your friend also do the tasks to unlock the power-ups? Or
no.
He just tried... Okay, so it's possible maybe that you can still do it in someone's game, but you have to do the work yourself? Can't be carried?
Yeah. That is very possible that may be the case.
All right. Well, I think a lot of people are going to be upset about losing their completion and having to shell out $8 or $9.
Mm-hmm.
But such is the way.
And again, I don't think it's going to be a wasted purchase, because I think any future updates... Again, this is just purely instinct, and I don't have any information to guide me saying this. I just have a feeling that they're going to build updates around this DLC. All
right. It's now time for our favorite time of the show. Sales. You'd think that if I was hosting, there'd be a better sale way, but alas, there is not. I'm going to go first. I'm very excited to say that Roombo is on sale. This game just came out. It's a $5 game. You can get it for $3.34. Buy this game. That's the perfect price for that game. You will play it for an hour, say, that wasn't bad, and then promptly never speak of it again. It will be fun. All right. We also have Cruise Brothers for $1.19. Now, normally, this would get a meh, but they have since added a 1000 G title update that's relatively easy. And they just tweeted out today, the devs saying another 1000 G is on its way. So, no matter what you think of all this inflated gamer score, $1.19 for potential 3000, you probably can't go wrong. It's probably a must buy at this price at this point. And last but not least, an old friend of ours, I am Tesla glad to recommend Tesla Grad, which some won't even realize this is the game that started our Vayner love. And it's not even classified as a Vayner anymore. This is scandalous. It's $4.49. You have to buy this game. It is really fun. It is really good. Just buy it anyway. It is good. All right. Nate, are you here?
I am here. I can tell you about games you should spend money on. The first
Please
is
do.
Deja Vu. It's $5.
I said, please do.
Oh,
please do.
Please, Deja Vu do.
Are you Deja Vu?
It's $5 down from 10. It is a puzzle game. It seems to be Switch puzzles. Now, there's no walkthrough per se, but Sangria's of the hidden levels, he has done a full video walkthrough. If you don't like puzzle games, but yet you like to buy puzzle games and complete puzzle games, that would be perfect for you. There's another game, Heaven Dust, $5 down from 10. This is survival horror. I have not played this, but I have looked at it, and I like to liken it to Animal Crossing meets Resident Evil. And I think once you see it, you'll think the same thing too.
What?
I think it's not that bad of a completion, but once again, I haven't played it. I also believe that there's kind of puzzle elements to it, finding codes and unlocking doors and things like that. So, this is one of those games you normally skip over in the sales, but maybe take a peek, see if it
Really?
Speaks to you.
I have wanted to take a flamethrower to most of the Animal Crossing characters, so.
Well, there you go. This might be your chance. I don't know.
All right.
And the last thing I'd like to mention or point out is Jeopardy Play Show. It is $9 down from 15, so not a huge sale. And it is marked as educational and trivia. I wanted to go back and see if all the Jeopardy games were marked as that, because I don't know. However, this game is different from the other Jeopardy games, I think, in that it is a series of episodes that you would play against as they aired or shortly after they aired. And of course, when Alex Trebek passed, I think they stopped doing that. They got rid of the live component and they packaged it with 30 or 40 canned episodes. And you can get the archives of those episodes, all the answers online in places. So that's how you're going to get your completion if you need to. I think you do need to win 30 games, 30 matches. So you can just use that to get through it. And I think TA said it was about 15 to 20 hours, something like that. So if that's interesting to you, you might want to pick this up. I don't know if this is going to go on sale too many times. I think it's only been on sale twice before. So yeah, Jeopardy Play Show.
Do they have the Aaron Rodgers episodes? That's what I
I don't think so.
I don't blame them.
I don't know what that means. I don't think so.
Oh, yes, you stop. Matt, what do you got?
Did a little bit of homework for you there, Nate, and it looks like the other Jeopardies are classed as educational and trivia.
Well, that's a bit of trivia I did not know.
But dumb tish.
Okay. So I one that caught my eye was Ritual Crown of Horns. It's a game I knew very little about. For some reason, I gravitated towards it when I looked at the sales list, and kind of glad I did. It is a twin stick shooter. It is $3.99, down from $19.99, 80% off. I'm a huge fan of twin stick shooters. I like them. They're fun. They provide that action element that Nate spoke of previously, where it's just constantly doing something. It's one that caught my eye. I'm going to pick it up. I want to give it a try. I unfortunately didn't have a chance to do it before we recorded tonight, but it looks good at that price. I'll take a $4 twin stick shooter any day. The other one that caught my eye, I've only heard about it, and that's Hue. I know it's like a puzzle platformer type deal. It's $2.99 down from $14.99, so nice price reduction there. $3 for.
Oh man, you never played Hue?
I have not played Hue.
You gotta be kidding me. Oh man, I have summoned my inner Elroy and X. I apologize. Yeah, that game. That game is colorful, which it's based off of colors. What's funny, I remember playing that game in colorblind mode, even though I am not colorblind, because I found it a lot easier to just match the shapes than to try to differentiate like pinkish from purple from red. It was just easier to just match the shapes. So
Absolutely.
There's my little.
You have to do it that way. I agree.
Okay, that's actually good to know. I do enjoy a good puzzle game,
but it's really fun.
It caught my eye. So yeah, I'm glad you guys are. You're speaking good of it. And the last game I'm going to mention is, to put a smile on Elle's face, is Speed 3. This is
Wait a minute. Was Sandra Bullock in that one?
Sandra Bullock is not in this one.
All
I
right,
don't think Keanu Reeves is in it.
No, Dennis Hopper.
It's Speed 3 Grand Prix.
Jason Statham.
No, it wasn't Jason Statham. It was Jason. Something else.
No, Interceptor. Sorry, go ahead.
Did anybody actually watch anything after Speed 1?
No.
Okay. Thankfully. Last thing we need is that franchise to go on like the Fast and the Furious, right?
Yeah, but that ninth one is out, man. It's got John Cena.
After the second one, I said, nah, I'm done.
Done.
No more Fast and the Furious.
Have you played Speed 3?
I have not, but this is one of those games that has always been, in my personal opinion, tragically overpriced at $29.99. It is on sale for $14.99, 50% off. So it caught my eye because $30 for what looks to be not a very deep racing game on the surface is just entirely too much money. So at the $14.99 price point, I'm going to go ahead and pick it up and give it a spin. And I will let everybody know in the Discord what I think of it.
Michelle?
I actually was also going to recommend Hue, and then I saw you had put it down already. I will echo what everyone said. Very good choice. I would totally recommend that one. I couldn't, though. I don't want to double dip, so I picked two games, one of which is Manual Samuel. Quite a few of us I know in Discord have had experience with Manual Samuel. I am aware, someone has told me at some point that there is another game that is similar to it. I don't remember what it is, nor have I ever seen it. All of that is to say, I've never really played another game exactly like Manual Samuel. The storyline is essentially the main character loses control of his whole body, and it's a simulation game because you are simulating what a human body does. Moving the right arm, moving the left arm, moving the right leg, moving the left leg. It's got a really great sense of humor. It's fun to play in co-op if you're able to play it in co-op. I believe it's local only. It's currently $149 instead of $9.99. Manual Samuel was in Game Pass for a full year, but that time has since come and gone. So if you haven't had a chance to play it, definitely recommend it. The other game that caught my eye, I'm not necessarily saying I'm recommending it because I have not played it on Xbox, but it's Tricky Towers. Tricky Towers is normally $15. It's $7.49. And the reason why it catches my eye is because I have played it on a cell phone. The way that this game works is you basically have like a flat palette, and Tetris-style blocks will fall from the sky, and you have to balance them as they fall to get as high as possible and build a tower. I've never played this on Xbox because I play it for free on my phone. So even $7.50 seems like a lot because I didn't pay for it on my phone, but definitely a far more attractive price than the $15 they normally ask. So might give that one a look.
Okay. Is the game you're thinking of maybe Octodad?
I haven't played it. Has anyone else I think I'm not thinking of it's not a game. You mean to compare to Manual Samuel?
Yes.
I haven't played it. I just know at some point in the past we had a discussion on Discord about Manual Samuel, and there was the general sentiment was I've never played a game like this one, and a couple people noted there was a Steam game that had a similar mechanic where you control the arms and the legs independently.
But that's Quirp.
Oh, that sounds right. Could you say that again?
Quirp.
Quirp. Yeah, that sounds correct. Are you familiar with that at all, or did like a light bulb just go on?
I'm familiar with how horrible it was.
Really?
I did not play it. It looked super frustrating. Yeah.
You played Manual Samuel, right?
I did play Manual Samuel, and that was much less frustrating than the way Quirp or Quap. Is it Quap?
Quap. I think that's it. QWOP. I think that's it.
That looked horrible.
Quirp sounds
reminds me of the game I recommended last week, which was BH Trials. It looks as frustrating as that. So.
All right. So, but Manual Samuel is not frustrating like that. It can be, but it's definitely completable. It's a fun challenge. And as I said already, the humor in it is, I think, really good. Like, fun game to play. If you go to skip the cutscenes, the game is self-aware enough to yell at you for skipping the cutscenes, Corey. So, definitely awesome. High marks.
All right. That was sales. In Games with Gold news, we were lucky enough to not get podcasted as we got the July announcements today. On the Xbox One, on July 1st, we will be graced with Planet Alpha, which is a platformer from Team 17, and it is 6 to 8 hours according to TA. On July 16th, Rock of Ages 3, Make and Break. It is listed as a platforming strategery tower defense game. I've heard nothing but good games. I've heard nothing but good things about the Rock of Ages series. So I'll definitely pick them up for free, but now we don't want to play 1 and 2 first. That's always a troublesome thing in my brain. On the Xbox 360, oh, wait a minute. Conquer Live and Reloaded is on the OG Xbox on July 1st. Now, of course, there's no achievements and no gamer score, but Conquer's pretty beloved, right? This is a remake of the 2001 N64 game that we already have on Rare Replay. From what I've heard, it is sanitized, but in a fun and funny way. So they're self-aware of the censoring they're doing. So it's PG-13. The controls are supposedly much better. And on the 360, we have Midway Arcade Origins on July 16th. It is in the collection genre, so Devin will be happy. It's 6 to 8 hours according to TA. I remember playing this, I don't know, it's like 2013, something like that. I remember having a heck of a time with the Smash TV one. That was the last one I got. And Joust 2 and Sinistar and APB were the ones I remember that were difficult. But there are a ton of classics on here like Gauntlet, Rampage, Spy Hunter, Marble Madness. We had Arch Rivals, which was like the precursor to NBA Jam. That is a really good value add. That's a great one.
I think just to temper expectations a bit about Midway Arcade Origins, and I, if any of the rest of you have played this too, you can correct me if you felt differently. The largest problem with it is the controls don't always work well. I think that's the issue with APB, is the controls are either very floaty or super sensitive. I think 720 is in there maybe also, and it's the same thing where the controls just don't translate super well. It's still worth playing and certainly picking up for the price of free, but just be aware that a lot of the difficulty is not necessarily because the tasks themselves are hard, but the controls are very finicky. Do you remember that at all, Elle? Like that being the issue, or is it too far
It's been a
down
while,
the memory bank now?
Yeah, I don't remember if it was difficult because it was difficult or difficult because of the controls. Probably both.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I do remember what Elle said about the certain achievements, like the Smash TV and the Joust achievements and the Sinistar. I do remember those achievements being particularly tricky. This is one of those games, you might want to be a little bit careful kind of walking into it because that ratio looks really low on it.
Mm-hmm.
But you're going to have a little bit of it think of it like the Neo Geo. It's in the same mold.
Yeah,
if
kind
you're
of.
skilled at those older games, you might be okay. I don't remember much about the controls being really off with it, because I am so far removed from playing it.
I specifically remember it being an issue with APB. That there was something a little off there. The game is completable. Definitely completable. But exactly what you said, Matt. Like, if you're getting started with it, don't be fooled by the TA ratio. It actually might be a little harder than the ratio suggests because of some of these more difficult achievements in there.
But as they say, if L can do it, you. All right, unfortunately, we don't have any Game Pass news. I'm sure tomorrow we'll find out what games are going to be leaving on July 15th or so, but we don't have that info right now. But what we do have is, Inigo, what do we have next?
Coming real soon.
Nice. Nate, it's all you, buddy.
Already filling in for Rocker. On Thursday, July 1st, we have probably the best game we're going to talk about in this segment, in my opinion, and that is Blaster Master Zero. Now, if you know this, it is based on a game from the NES era. Just going to read a little bit of, dang it, stupid vocabulary, too late. A little bit of propaganda for you. Blaster Master Zero is an 8-bit style top-down and side-view 2D action-adventure game that harkens back to the golden age of the NES. Now, this is interesting. This game was created using the original 1988 title Blaster Master from Sunsoft as a base, with the addition of new areas and bonuses, new gameplay elements such as extra sub-weapons, improved gameplay, a more robust scenario, refined and expanded exploration mechanics, and more. How vague. Player 2 can provide support for Player 1 as they traverse through the game in the local-only co-op multiplayer mode.
What does that even mean? Yeah. Like a bra? Like what?
Well, it means that co-op only works locally and you cannot do it online.
I mean, provide support. Does that mean you're playing together? Or is it like Child of Light where you just like hang out and play as little fairy thing?
I think it's more like Child is Light. That's kind of what I'm getting from it. All I know is we don't have too long to wait to find out. I'm excited about this game.
Comes out today.
Yeah. Time travel's fun. Also coming out today, Super Destronaut DX2 from Petite Games and Ratalaika. This is the next game in a series that I don't think anyone asked for. It's basically Space Invaders, but it's much easier to beat than Space Invaders. Friday, July 2nd.
That is true.
The Procession to Calvary. This is a Digerati published game, so that's already got our attention. It's an adventure. It's a point and click. And to read their propaganda, pilfer from pirates, conspire with cardinals, and perform miracles with an incompetent magician. The Procession to Calvary is a Python-esque adventure game made from the Renaissance paintings and a spiritual successor to the critically acclaimed Four Last Things. I don't know anything about Four Last Things, but I do know about Monty Python. And in checking out the screens and some video of this game, it is totally ripped right out of the Monty Python kind of interstitials. And it looks like it's made for a certain set of people. So you might want to check that out and figure out if that's you. Also coming out Friday, July 2nd, Treasure Hunter Simulator. Now this is a game that allows you to simulate hunting treasure. Yeah, treasure hunting. You're basically using a metal detector and you're picking up shiny things and you're digging and you're supposed to go around and visit different locales and stuff. And yeah, I don't know. I think we need to see how long it takes to complete the game before we can recommend it. And finally, apparently the title says it all, Walden, a game. So yeah, this is a take on Henry David Thoreau's classic adventure in living simply in nature as you explore this epic open world game based on the story of Thoreau's life in the woods alone at Walden Pond. Now, gaming site CNN says it's an introspective Oregon Trail.
I always trust their takes on gaming. I'm glad we finally come to this point.
Yes, finally. And just I want to point out some of the achievements here. I know I'm ripping on this game a little bit. It's totally an indie. It's totally the whole indie ethos, right? Let's make this game that wouldn't normally be made, and let's see what kind of how we can get other people into games. So it's kind of interesting to me, but let's see. There are achievements for things such as get 20 of these, get 20 of those, sell 20 of these, that sort of stuff. But then the very interesting ones are never bought anything at the general store. Okay. Never went into town. Okay. And then walking 50 miles. So, yeah. This game, I don't know. I think people need to know it exists. That's why I had to pick this one, even though it may not be the best game. I think people need to know that this thing exists.
I'm glad to know it exists.
Yes.
I'm going to go ahead and pre-order it.
Well, it's already on Steam, so if you're that interested, you could get it twice.
Oh, man. Do it, Matt. Let us know.
I am so glad video games have room
CNN.
for something like this, because, we finally hit that point where it really is art imitating life. I'm never buying anything at the general store again. I expect my achievement.
I like how it's promoting the anti-socialism, never going into town.
I mean, I'm pretty sure Fitbits give you achievements for walking 50 miles.
Yeah, they
They
do. They definitely give you inspirational emails. All right, it's time for Contest Corner. Nate, tell us about the Gamertag Challenge. It looks like we're coming to the end of June.
We are coming to the end of June, and the game tag was Soundwave Core. His wildcard game was anything in Transformers series, so a previous completion or an achievement will earn you 1 point. And his bonus was Raytail completion. That's a base completion in a game that has DLC. You do not need to complete the DLC to get the bonus point. We need those basically scores. You need to update your sheet before the next show, so let's just call that Monday the 5th. As long as your scores are in by then, we can read and pick our winner on the next day, which will be our live recording, is July the 6th. Speaking of July, we have picked our new gamer tag, and the lucky guy, I believe, is KBAL73. We have no further details at this time, but we will by Tuesday.
That's a cool guy, except for the fact that he's from Boston. Other than that, he's pretty great.
Yeah, doesn't he support a Bruins picture? Good for him.
We don't talk about that. No.
I like him.
Not good for him. Okay. It is now time for Brag Camp, a.k.a. Proclamation Point. Inigo, we'll start with you.
All right, let's cover one of my favorite stats. That's completions. All right, we have KT has reached 85 completed games. Unstoppable KD at 165 games. Philip Wendell has reached 315 games. Icefire TN, 320 games. A Gray Shark, not to be confused with the Blue Shark, has completed 350 games. Survivalist has completed 360 games. Bastion Reader, 440 games. Retro Chief, without his internet, 440 games. What the Fug, 475 games. Mr. Gompers. Did you catch that, Nate? I said Mr. Gompers.
Yeah, I did. I see how it's done.
490 games. Matthew H. 00. And he is not related to me. 495 games. EOJ 540. Vulgar Latin 560 games. I didn't even think he knew how to complete a game, but he has proven me wrong today. Red 047 590. L's favorite Lord of Dookie 69 595. Casual Exile 605. Kitty Skies 625. Everyone's favorite Mike Pitch 645. Ross 665. Triple Triad 777. 765. Mental Knight 775 games on his way to beating me in the soccer game. Jimbot UK 785 games. ElroyOMJ 930. Lucas 1987. 2,220 completed games. I mean, that's impressive, Lucas. Wow. And then we're going to move on into completion percentage. Ahizo at 42%. Katie has reached 44%. Toby Lynn has hit 53%. Welcome to the group, Toby Lynn. Rutark, 73%. Yeah. Did I say that right?
Okay. Absolutely.
All right, we'll go with that one. ElroyOMJ, 77%. Sabin Rothschild, 91%. Legohead 1977, 96%. Good job, Legohead.
In ratio, we have Henky XD, which I think is just a face with some squinty eyes, actually. So it's probably Henky Squinty Eye Face. Has reached a new milestone with a TA ratio of 2.1. He's the only one playing those hard games. In streaks, we have a Yingagarten on a 50-day streak. We have BenL72 on a 100-day streak. We have X, the birthday boy hero, currently on a 150-day achievement win streak. We have Northern Lass with 300 days, and Saucy Slingo with a measly 2,625 days.
Slacker, Patriots suck.
In Achievements 1, we have AS Unknown 1 with 9,000 achievements. Fluttery Chicken has reached 10,000. Survivalist at 17,000 achievements. Casual Exile at 24,000 achievements. Raw Sauce Ross with 25,000 achievements. ElroyOMJ with his second milestone of this brag camp at 32,000 achievements, and Triple Triad 777, who's also been mentioned more than once, at 34,000 achievements. Moving on to Gamerscore, Fuoth has reached a Gamerscore milestone of 150,000, Matthew 550,000, not Matthew on the panel, but Matthew HOO, and Ahizo at 600,000 Gamerscore.
Okie dokie, and TA score, Fight Club has 500,000 TA score. iMike0 also has 500,000 TA score. Red 047 has 1.25 million TA score. Raw Sauce Ross 1.5 million. Triple Triad, it's you again, 1.9 million. And Mr. North Ultra Railbait has 2.1 million TA score. In leaderboards, Ahizo's in the top 5,000 of the TA leaderboard for role-playing. He also got some Arizona card and board things, but no one cares about that category, so we won't read them. BenL72 is in the top 1,000 of the Gamerscore leaderboard for platformer. Fluttery Chicken is in the top 2,000 of the England TA leaderboard. Mental Knight is in the top 100 of the TA Difference leaderboard for adventure. And in the top 10 of the TA leaderboard for education and trivia. Quick shout out, actually, to Mental and MDP and Dude with the Face and M and myself. We finished that Artifacts Monday game that we were working on, Endless Fables, right? Who the hell knows?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
It's one of those Artifacts Monday games. But we got the completion together. It was a good time. Ross is in the top 1,000 of the TA leaderboard for survival horror. And what the fuck? This is a real good one in the top 10 of the Wisconsin TA leaderboards.
Nicely done, Fug.
All right, and now my favorite part, reading random stuff that people post in hashtag BragCamp. Vulgar Latin completed MLB the show. Very good. Last time I was in party with him, he was saying vulgar things while he was playing that game, so thankfully he's done with that one. Woo! Has been monopolizing the Vayner channel with La Mulana Talk. He finished La Mulana 2 and was the first one to do so on TA, and has been basically talking up this series ever since. So hopefully he's got some good tips. Retro Chief completed Skylander Swap Force 360 and is the 420th gamer to have done so. Blaze it up. He's probably also has 420,000 Skylanders in his house. So someone buy some from him.
He does. I
yes,
can't
I know. Aftos84 decided to post and say that he hit 250,000 Gamerscore right on the nose. So that was interesting. AS Unknown completed Saints Row 2. That's a good one. Kitty completed Paw Patrol on a roll. That's a not so good one. Bastion Reader hit a fun Gamerscore total of 556677. And right after that, look at this. We have Raw Sauce Ross. Raw Sauce Ross hit 888. So that's pretty great. Mike Pitch had challenged me in completions, and he's been playing one easy, crappy game a day and has overtaken me in completions and currently has 645 to my 643. We're going to have to remedy that. When this podcast hits, the July RTDL will have come out, and I have added a whole bunch of crappy easy games to my game collection, and I'm going to have to take my lead back from you, sir.
Don't play Moto Racer 4 to do that.
Tell Mike Pitch to try that game and keep playing until he completes it. You can do it, bud.
On it.
And, of course, as Koosh alluded to, X the Hero, happy birthday on June 29th. And, of course, Michelle with a big birthday on June 30th. Happy birthday to you as well.
Well,
Hey,
thank
happy
you.
birthday.
Yeah,
Thank
happy
you.
birthday.
All right. We are wrapping up. Make sure you hit us up on the Twitch, the Twitter, the Discord, and the YouTube. Because Lord knows our fans love to listen to our podcast on YouTube. If you love us, check out the Patreon. We've had some great talks recently in the Patreon VIP channel. I can't talk about what we talk about on here, because what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. All right. Anything anyone want to say before we get out of here? Good night.
I'm good.
I
Thanks
think
for
I'm
joining
good.
us again, Inigo.
Yeah. And
Pleasure to record
thank
with you.
Thank you for having me on again. Again, it's an honor, and I got some big shoes to fill, filling in for Fufu. I'm pretty sure everybody misses him. I know we all are going to. So,
Well, I did miss him until I just looked on Facebook and saw a picture of him in an Orioles jersey. I do not miss him anymore. I threw up in my mouth.
okay, you know what? Now that you mentioned he was in an Orioles jersey, I don't.
Yeah,
Everything I
exactly.
just said goes out the window. Okay, go Sox.
I'm upset you have basically spoken ill of my neighborhood sport team.
Uh-oh.
Your conviction is clear.
Did I do it right?
You are defending their honor.
Yes,
There
Koosh
you
is,
go.
Koosh is a big Orioles fan. He was asking me earlier if Cal Ripken Jr. is still playing, and who knows? He probably still is.
He probably
that
still
man was a
is.
legend. I gotta say, he was a good one.
As
All right.
a Sox fan, I will say he is a legend.
Nobody will ever play that many games in a row again. People play more than 5 games and they're like, oh, my toe hurts.
Yeah. We'll never see
Terrible.
anything like it.
Terrible. All right. Thank you for listening to Achievement Hunting 101. Class is dismissed.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
See ya.
It's Generation X. It's Generation X.
Xbox. Get Xbox.
It's Generation X. I Gen X.
Get Xbox.
I Gen X.
Xbox.
I Gen
Get
X.
Xbox.
I Gen
Get
X.
Xbox.
Welcome back, nostalgia-seeking Chivo Hunters, to the second edition of Gen Xbox, where two old fogies from Generation X sit around and compare some games you can earn some gamer score in with games that we grew up on. What did these new games do well, and where did they fall short? Well, that's what we will discuss in this segment. Joining me today is someone whose speech is my recital. I think it's very vital to rock a run. That's right, on time. It's Freaky!
That's right. Hey, Freaky, rock a run, you rock a run. All right, that's right. It's Freaky. Oh,
Freaky.
man. Yeah, great song.
Thank you. Yeah.
Great song.
I thought you deserved a good intro. So, I guess we got greenlit to do a second episode of this.
Hey,
so,
hey. No, I was pleasantly surprised with the reception of the first episode. So it was,
Yeah, well-
I didn't realize how much people would enjoy actually listening to two old farts ramble on about stuff from our childhood.
yeah, well, the key is to get everything right. So, as far as I know, we got everything 100% correct. So,
We
no
were
need to do any
spot on.
corrections.
We don't need to go. We don't need to roll back anything. Everything was 100% correct. Yes.
Yep. All right, cool. Yeah, well, we got that out of the way. So, man, so this week we don't need to lay out our credentials or anything.
No. I think it'll be a shorter week. You know, I'm sure we'll still find tangents here and there, but yeah, we don't have to put out our proof of
oldness.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, okay. I think everyone has very distinctly understood that we are old, so we're good. But and as far as not talking a long time, I wouldn't have, except for I found a game that I didn't know I was going to talk about until just like 2 days ago. I told you one game, and then I went another way.
Oh, okay. So I'm going to be surprised at this one.
Yeah, well, I told you about this one.
Oh, okay,
So I didn't do a switcheroo on you twice. So this was the original switcheroo I gave you. So originally I was going to do one that I'll probably do next time, which I'll reveal at a later date. But then I sat down and I saw this wonderful game. It was called 8 Dragons. I mean, it just has you at the title. I mean, 8 Dragons. I mean, it's just... that's a lot of dragon per dollar. In fact, it was on sale.
That's like 4 times more than Double Dragon.
Yeah, I know, and indeed, it's 4 times the Double Dragon. And as far as the, I think regularly priced, you pay just over $1 per dragon. So I think it's normally $8.99. I think it was on sale this week for about $7. But anyway, by the time you listen to this, I'm sure it won't be on sale anymore. So there you go. But anyhow, it's a beat 'em up. So let me just kind of tell you about the game first, and then I'll tell you why I fell in love with this game. So it's currently worth about 1,500 TA, and it's a pretty easygoing beat 'em up, and it's from Jandu Soft. It's got 46 whole achievements in it, and you might be saying that's a whole lot of achievements, but you'll get most of those during your first playthrough. So you play through it. And one playthrough entails going through 7 levels. Okay. So once you get through the 7 levels, the end of that's the main boss, and you destroy the boss, and then that's the end of the playthrough. So there's 11 levels in total. So there's 7 per playthrough. There's 11 total. I believe it's random, but I'm not 100% sure because I never had to go back and play with a character the second time to see if it was in the same order. So I don't know that it is random, but it looked like it was random to me. But
so you only play 7 levels per run through, but there's like a total of 11. Yes. Okay.
There's 11 possible, and it seemed like it just drew randomly, but some it drew more random than others. So I don't know if there was character specific levels. It's possible because it seemed like everybody took the same route to some degree. Like the subway was everyone went through the subway, and everyone went. Yeah, it seemed like there was about 3 or 4 that were definitely pretty much on everyone's playthrough. I didn't notice if everyone went through those stages, but it seemed like I played them a whole lot more than the other ones. So there's a couple that, like for example, there's the docks, and I only saw the docks once so far, and I haven't finished the game yet, but I've only seen that one once. And so, but anyway, they each of the levels have about approximately 2 unique enemies. And so you get an achievement for killing both of those enemies. And by unique, that's a bit of a stretch. So, for example, on the mall level, there's Bobby and Billy at the mall. And they basically wear different color shirts.
Yeah, that's a different color. There's this area of pixels is just a shade darker.
Yeah, it's a different color. No, this was definitely a different color. I mean, their mamas didn't dress them the same, at least. But I hope they realize they're related. Now, maybe they don't realize they're related. Bob and Billy, you never know. But Stacy and Shanae. Stacy and Shanae are a little more interesting backstory on those 2 characters because one. Well, they're identical except for one's black and one's white. So I don't know if they're, but other than that, they're like identical sisters. So it's crazy. But on the first playthrough I went through, I unlocked 28 out of the 46 of achievements. So I got 360 gamer score, and the playthrough probably takes about 20 minutes, I'd say. I don't know, something like that, 25 minutes max. But so there is a downside that you get an achievement for having to beat the game with each character, and there are literally 8 characters, plus there is an arcade mode, and you might be saying, well, that sounds fun. No, it's just like the story mode. So they just called it something different. So, I think that you get 2 main bosses in the arcade mode. That's the only difference I could tell. But.
So I'm assuming since there's 8 main characters, like each character is a different head of the dragon?
Yes, it's not a Hydra, it's a... Octra, something.
Yeah. That would be an Octadragon, I guess. Yeah,
something. Yeah. I'm not sure about that. We'll add that to the things that we got right at the later. So the downside thus is you get 9 playthroughs, but the upside is that it's fun, so you don't mind. So why this game? Why did I choose this? Okay, there you go. I tried to tell you a little bit about the game. That was kind of a pseudo review because I really think everyone should play this game. But so this game I chose because it is your classic. I mean, it is classic beat 'em up. I mean, you think beat 'em up? Like, what game do you think of when you think of beat 'em ups? Like,
I mean, my first beat 'em up I remember playing is Double Dragon down at the 7-Eleven.
Okay. Yep, that one's there. 7-Eleven, nice.
Yeah, we would walk down we lived in a cul-de-sac, and this was, before, so we moved out of that house in like 1988, so I was younger than 10 years old. We would walk down, and my sister would spend her dimes and nickels on, this is back when you can actually buy like Jolly Ranchers one piece at a time for a nickel. Instead of the whole bag. And so we would go down and we would save aluminum cans, and I'd go spend my quarters on playing video games at the 7-Eleven. Yeah, so like Double Dragon's definitely the first beat 'em up I ever played.
Nice. See, my local arcade, I was within a bike's distance in the mall, and so there was no reason to go anywhere else besides the mall because that's where the Aladdin's Castle was. So
yes, I was just about to ask you if your mall had an Aladdin's Castle. Ours did too.
Yeah, absolutely, Aladdin's Castle, and of course I remember like all the cool kids had their birthday parties there, and if you got to go, man, they put the machines all on free play, and you were like, oh snap!
Oh man, I was never went to a birthday party at Aladdin's Castle.
I got to go to 2 of those, and I still remember each one of them because it was so cool because you could play everything as much as you want, and all these games that would just gobble up your quarters. You just sit there and give it an hour and a half of your time, and then you just move on to the next one. And then,
it was Showbiz Pizza for us, or
nice,
Chuck E. Cheese, the same thing.
Nice. Yep.
So,
yep.
But,
I remember Showbiz, man. That Freddy's game kind of freaks me out because like those things were freaky, man. Those animatronics. I got behind the curtain with the animatronics once. And
I know.
Yeah, it kind of scarred me a little bit. I did it as a dare, like when I was like really young, and I went behind the curtain, and they were just dead, but they were like stare at you, but they had no motion. Oh man.
Oh yeah. Whoever did Five Nights at Freddy's definitely grew up going to Chuck E. Cheese and Showbiz Pizza or working there.
Definitely.
Because it is like, that is how spot on it is.
I don't know Chuck E. Cheese because ours was Showbiz. They turned Chuck E. Cheese long after I stopped going, but with Showbiz they all had bears. It was like all of these damn bears. It was like 4 or 5 bears, and some of them were really kind of questionable, and they look like they jump off the stage and kill the entire audience there. So,
yes.
All right, so good. All right, well, I'm glad you mentioned Double Dragon because Double Dragon is definitely got some influences on it. So I've narrowed it down to 3 influences that this game has had on it, and Double Dragon was one of them. So the reason that it's similar to Double Dragon is that the way the game starts for each of the characters is different. I don't know if it's random. Again, I only played through 4 characters, and I only played through once because I never died. Well, I died, but I didn't lose, so I don't know if you can continue or what. But anyway, so I only had to play through once with each one. And so each one starts differently, but several of them start with some big dude walking over, punching a woman in the gut, and slinging her over his shoulder and walking off.
That is,
I mean,
that's the perfect. That is the opening scene to Double Dragon. Like, that is
it really is. Now, in this one, they're not flanked by anybody. In the other one, there's like a couple of goons that went with them. This time, it's just some person going rogue and punching women in the stomach and slinging them over their shoulder. But there are other stories that start the game, but I really like that one because of obvious reasons. It reminded me of Double Dragon. So but it has the same kind of scheme. You can punch. You have the back kick and then the jump kick that's overpowered, and the fights take place in an area and then they move on to the next area. That's pretty similar in most beat 'em ups. And then there's a couple of enemies on this game that are big muscular dudes, and I don't know, I think they work out in the same gym as the big ugly dudes on Double Dragon. I had to look that guy's name up. He actually has a name. Do you happen? I'm gonna be super impressed if you actually know what the big dude that looks like he's made out of rock in Double Dragon.
Yeah, and he has that like weird mustache.
Yeah.
Gosh, it's like I actually just played through one of the Double Dragon games, and you have to play through and use each character to win.
Oh, okay.
I want to say it's like Gonzor or Gollum or no? It's not Gollum. What is it?
If it helps any, it starts with an A, and there's a lot of O's in it.
Oh, no, I don't remember.
It's a Bobo.
Ah, that's it. A Bobo. I knew as soon as you said I'd know it.
Yeah,
yep.
It's a Bobo. But anyway, so there's a couple big muscular dudes. They're a little more handsome than a Bobo, although a Bobo does have that mustache.
Yeah.
But
looks like a Fu Manchu, right? If I recall.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to be racially insensitive, but like it has the.
No, I think it's actually called a Fu Manchu mustache. We'll have to ask X. He has a mustache, so he's our go-to mustache expert. So yeah. So there's a couple of big dudes that are like oversized than everyone else on the screen, and it just made me think of a Bobo, the guy that looks like he's made out of rock, and and then so you had some Double Dragon there, and then I had Streets of Rage. Mm-hmm. So the reason I chose Streets of Rage is another influence is because you have multiple characters of the same type, but they just have different names, like Billy and Bobby from the mall, and Stacy and Shanae, and they just have different colored shirts on, or other minor tweaks. But Streets of Rage had that, where that some characters were tougher than others because they were a different color and they had a different name, but there's no health bars, like when Streets of Rage, when you're like fighting them, their health bar,
little ticks of the health bar down. Yep.
Yeah, nothing like that. So this one's a little more primitive than that, but also you can do where you knee them, and then you got their like knee them in the face, and then you like flip them over your shoulder.
Yep.
And that hits other enemies.
Yeah, that's always my go-to move.
Yeah, that move is definitely in the game. I use that to my advantage many a times. And then lastly, another reason it's like Streets of Rage is because it has a bunch of dudes in it with guns that are massively overpowered. No, I mean, I get it. You can take a lot of hits with your fists, but if someone shoots you with a gun, it's going to take up a lot more. Hell, I mean, I get it, but still, it doesn't mean that there needs to be dudes in the game with guns that are shooting at you and taking off literally 3/4 of your health with one shot.
Yeah,
so
it's like those knife guys in Double Dragon. Like you get hit once, and like three-quarters of your life is gone. You're like,
I know. God, I hate those guys, man. Yeah. So they do have that aspect in this as well. There's a pimp that has a gun that I think his name. Oh, what was his name? God, I think it was Silky. I think it was Silky.
Of course it was
Silky. Silky the pimp. And Silky the pimp, man, he is the hardest enemy in the game because this dude, he shoots at you, and then he runs off like a little bee, and you have to basically. For those of you that are actually tuning in for some kind of gameplay tips, what you got to do to kill Silky is you got to lure him to the middle of the screen and then do a bunch of dashes and then kind of dash and hit him after he shoots, and that's about the only way I could figure it out to hit him, and then you kind of stay close, and because otherwise, man, he just backs off, and then shoots you when he can.
I mean, if you got a gun, why would you even try to engage?
Oh yeah, I mean, I don't blame Silky. I mean, Silky's just doing what a pimp's got to do,
Yeah,
but
I believe that was what I don't know, a Snoop Dogg album or something.
Yeah, mo bullets, mo shooting. Is that something like that? I think that was the name. I don't know. I add that again to the list of things we got correct. So,
yeah, exactly. We have to have a tally. I mean, it's not going to be a tally. It'll just be one side of everything we got correct.
Right. Yeah. And then the third game was Renegade. Did you ever play Renegade?
Yes. It's on. They came out with a little emulation of it recently, and one of those little Arc System Works. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I actually downloaded and played that earlier this month as well. The Arc System Works one.
Yeah,
you got the Gentleman's 600 in that one, I believe.
Okay, see, I played it all the way through. Got the full 1000. That's a hot mess at the end. I'd never played it growing up. I missed that one somehow, and so I really enjoyed it when I got to finally play through it. And I see, it's kind of like the father of some of these other beat 'em ups we're talking about. But the reason I compared it to Renegade is because there are enemies in this game that you have to kick off motorcycles like you do in Renegade. There's a whole couple of stages where you have to kick dudes off motorcycles by jump kicking at the right time, and so there's an element of that in this game. And then also there's before you get on the actual subway train, there's a subway platform level. And there's like, it looks just like that Renegade stage. There's an achievement in that Arc System Works where you have to knock everybody off of this podium into the I don't know. There's like
it's like a pit at the end of the game.
Yeah, it's like a pit, but I mean, it looks like they could literally just step down in there. But it's not exactly to scale. It's not like you're falling off a cliff, but good Lord, man, that's like instant death if you touch that thing.
Oh,
and
man.
So,
don't. And it comes back from there were no walls there. You fell off too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. You have to be careful, man. But man, they have something like that, and it's literally like the same setup. It's like right before you get on the subway train, and it's like this podium that looks like it's like 2 feet down, but it's actually 1,000 feet. It might as well be, because as soon as and it has spikes in it, I guess, even though you can't see them, because it is insta death if you even look at it wrong. So, but yeah, that is also in this game. And then there was one last unknown element that, as you can tell, I could talk about this game for a long time. I really like this game.
Yeah.
And there was one last unknown element in there, because there was the main enemy of the game in arcade mode is named Mr. Big, and that was the main boss. Nice. And so I was like, God, there was a beat 'em up that had Mr. Big as its main boss, and I kept thinking I could not come up with it. I went to the internets, and I was confusing it with the Streets of Rage main enemy. Do you remember him?
No, I mean I can vision him. I just don't remember his name.
It was Mr. X.
Oh,
so
yep.
Mr. X. And so I was thinking Mr. Big is Mr. X. And then I realized that all I was remembering wrong. Maybe it was because X was in there, and that got me thinking of Mr. Big was actually from Art of Fighting, and it's ACA Glory. He's the one that goes, blaster, 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 blaster. Like all you have to do is blaster, and then you get 1,000 gamer score. Blaster, blaster.
Yeah. It's like all those fighting games that had the great catchphrases. Was Street Fighter 2 was like tiger, tiger, tiger.
It's hard to be blaster. I believe Mr. Big is actually a pimp too, but I'm not 100% sure. He's got he's got the fur, and he's got the sunglasses, but I can't prove. I don't want to incriminate Mr. Big from Art of Fighting. If you're not a pimp, that's okay. I'm sorry.
No, nothing against pimps, but I mean,
I'm
looking him up right now. He's kind of classy looking. I'm going to say.
You sleep with dogs, you get fleas. You dress like pimps, and people are going to think you're a pimp. I mean, I think that's how it goes. Yeah,
exactly.
And then, but I did look up one interesting side note here, is that there is actually a Mr. Big as the main boss of an 80s game that you may or may not have played.
What is this game?
It is Narc.
Yes, I have played Narc on the NES. Yeah. I don't remember much of it, but I do remember the game and playing it.
Yep, it's a running gun. It was an arcade hit in 1988, and it was ported to NES in 1990. It was ported to a whole lot of different systems, including the Commodore 64. So, but it was ported to NES in 1990, and I was looking at the Wikipedia page on it. It really cracked me up because it said that, oh man, I thought I had it pulled up, so I was going to read it verbatim to you. But basically, the game was like an anti-drug. It says it's the first anti-drug messaged game or something like that.
Yeah.
And then it promptly says that the NES took out all references to that.
So of course, like okay. The history of Nintendo whitewashing their games, was it when I was in high school?
It
the
seems
big
like
thing.
they would leave that in there.
Yeah.
Now it was like the first pro drug game that I could see that, but
well, I mean, with a name like Narc, like what do you expect?
Oh yeah, I mean, come on.
But it didn't. I mean, didn't the Super Nintendo? Didn't they have to? Who was it? Midway did Mortal Kombat. And
they had the blood settings, and they had the Genesis was way cooler because they allowed the blood. So.
And then the Super Nintendo was like, all they did was just change it from red to gray.
Yeah. Oh, see, I didn't. I only played it a lot later. I don't remember the blood color, but I do remember it was more fluid. Like it was a better game. Like it was ported better to the Super Nintendo, but you played the Genesis one if you wanted blood. So
yeah. Man, they still had a lot of the the fatalities in there. Like they still had the Scorpion Toasty, but all the blood splatter was gray instead of red. If I remember correctly, like I said, this is I'm remembering back 20 plus years now at this point.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'm sure you're 100% correct.
Wasn't there also like an 80s band called Mr. Big?
Oh yeah, I'm the one who wants
to
be with you. Yeah, man. Yeah. Feel it too.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Blame it on the. I forget.
Hold on, little girl. That's right.
Yeah. Right. Come on, baby. Come on.
See, Elle's not the only one that sings.
Yeah. Good old Mr. Big, man. Way to pull that out. Yeah, I forgot. Yeah, that's it, man. Yeah, it's pretty boring. I remember the video. It was like wasn't it like in grayscale or something like that? I don't know.
Yeah,
I
that was
watched
like
a lot of MTV as a kid.
I think, if I remember correctly, because I know
there's a lot of hair in that video.
Yeah, because this is the time where it's like if you were a metal band, you had to release a ballad like Extreme. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you know Extreme, but they do the it's actually on Guitar Hero 1. They do the last songs "Play With Me," and like the guitarist for Extreme is crazy, like like that's how the song starts out. But Extreme's biggest hit is like some power ballad, and it's like More Than Words, like.
Oh yeah,
right. More than words.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I know that one.
It's so like a lot of hair, a lot of grayscale in that video too, and like acoustic guitars, and all the metal bands had to do like one ballad, so they would get people. That was just the thing back then. All the 80s hair bands.
You had was it? See. Got Motley Crue, Home Sweet Home.
Yeah.
You got Ugly Kid Joe, Cats in the Cradle.
Yes, yeah. Ugly Kid Joe, good one.
Yeah. Throwing some at you here. Okay, yeah. I remember these.
Oh, wait, what? Sister Christian? I think that's the name of it.
I never was a Sister Christian.
That was the name of the song, I think. Motoring, what's your price for flight? For finding Mr. Right.
I don't know that one at all.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
And then what other?
Wait. What was it? Ozzy Osbourne, Mama, I'm Coming Home?
Mama, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, see. Okay.
Yeah.
So, should we talk about 8 Dragons again?
yeah. Oh, we got off track.
Yeah.
What were
Sorry,
we talking
I threw
about
Mr.
again?
Big in there. I thought the blaster, and then just kind of, we All right, so I always like to divide mine up to what did it do better and what did it do worse. So here you go. So this is what it did better. So what it did better is that the weapons do not break. Seriously.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's such a revolutionary achievement in the beat 'em up world, because you grab a metal pipe, well, in this case, like an axe or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And in real world, you take a metal pipe and you could crack as many heads as you want with that, because you know it's metal.
Yeah.
And, people's skulls aren't metal, and so metal wins. And so with this, you grab a weapon, and if you get a weapon, you're good to go for that whole stage, because they're not very good at disarming you when you put it on the lowest skill level. So you get an axe, you can turn into you could was that Jason Voorhees? You could
you just
didn't he like
tear through everybody?
Yeah, you just tear through everybody with this axe. And so anyway, so that was pretty cool. I like that there was a no break weapon system.
Gosh.
That's so annoying.
I mean, because it's only good for like the enemies at that particular part.
Yeah.
Like the two enemies that are on the screen when you get it.
Yep. And then you have to like plan ahead where you're like, okay, I'm going to grab it right before I advance. And then sometimes it's an auto advance. You're like, take it. It just sits on the ground as you automatically walk off. Oh, I hate that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, like in Double Dragon, like you would have it and it would just disappear from your hand.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Gone.
Yeah, you lost it in the cutscene. Yeah. Restroom break and you left it sitting by the toilet.
Damn it.
All right, another thing. There is a generous like invincibility. So like when you die in a beat 'em up, normally if you die, you get like when you respawn, you get like an invincibility for a few seconds.
Yeah, like your character's flashing and
you
can't get hit, but you can still attack the enemies.
Right. Well, in this game, if you get knocked down, like just hit. If you get knocked down and you land on the ground, once you get up, you have a solid at least 3 seconds of invincibility. Like the second you get knocked down, like so if you get surrounded by people and they knock you down, they better watch out, because you're going to kill every one of them before you stop blinking. And so it's like at least 3 seconds. It might be 5 seconds. I don't know. It was forever. And so I like that. I like it that you can you take a hit and you get up swinging, man. Yeah, normally you get in one of those situations, you got people on both sides of you, then you end up dying because you can't really get out of that situation.
Yeah, you
but
get cheesed into a corner.
Yeah. This you don't have that problem in this game. And then also they introduced ground and pound. Now I know other games have this where you can crouch down on an enemy and turn their face into ground meat. You know, where you like crouch down and just start wailing on them. So you could do that in this game, and that's not revolutionary by any stretch. But more importantly, when you do this, unless the enemy is almost defeated, like unless they only need like one more hit, they're going to shove you off. Yeah. And when they do, it counts as being knocked down, even though it doesn't take off a single lick of health. So they shove you off of them, and all of a sudden you're invincible for 3 to 5 seconds.
Nice.
So again, I know a lot of people are coming here for gameplay tips, but use that on the bosses. Just try to, you're not going to be able to sit on them and wail on them, but they're going to make you invincible for 3 to 5 seconds. Works really good, with people with guns. Yeah, nice. Yeah. So just saying, just use your brain on that. And then I thought that the extra lives were very well spaced. So just when you because every once in a while you run in, there's like a few characters that it's really easy to die with that I'll cover in a second, but you get an extra life, like I think it's every 100,000, and it just comes right at the right time, and it bailed me out twice. So I really liked that, and I liked how they spaced that out. Yeah. And then the last thing that you would really like about it is the retro feel of this game. So like the second you turn it on, it goes into, I don't know what it is, but there's like some kind of filter on it that makes it look like literally, it looks like you're playing on an old console. Nice. It's so cool. Nice. Like a lot of games try that, and it doesn't quite come off. This one, I think, did it better than any of those that I've ever seen, where they tried to make it look like that. Except for, it's kind of like Amazing P, tried to make it look like it was on a Game Boy or something like that. Yeah. But this one actually, it feels like you're playing it on like an old 16-bit or even an 8-bit system, so it's pretty cool. Yeah, and you know instantly, it's noticeable. Like it literally, you can see the screen adjust with this filter, and it's pretty cool. And then the music's pretty good too. So
I like games that do that well. Like
this one does it
because there are a lot of games out there that try to just slap that filter on there, and it's just all right, whatever. But games that do that well and really kind of take you back that nostalgic feeling, it's really fun.
Oh, you'd love this one then, because it is. It's really well done.
I'll check it out. Yeah, I checked out Thunder Flash after our last episode, so I'm gonna have to check out this one too. Yeah.
Okay, what'd you think of that one?
That was great. It was just exactly like you said. You're going through, and it's just shoot 'em up, just kill everybody on the screen. Let's go.
There you go. And no penalty for dying. You just start right back up.
That was great.
Yeah, the couple weird jetpack levels, but what can you do, right? So all right, so I got to throw some dirt a little bit. So what did it do worse? I try to give a fair review here. So what it did worse is that this whole game is built around 8 dragons or heroes, right? So that's kind of the whole premise of it. Yeah. So given that that's how it's built, it seems like one would try to make each of them distinctly different, right? Like each character has their own little thing. Yeah. No, that's not done at all. The only difference I could tell is that some characters have much less health. So instead of having 12 bars of health, you have like 4, and those are the characters that have the highest ratio to beat the game with. Surprise, because you can only take like 2 hits before you die. Yeah. And so it makes it a lot more challenging. I don't know exactly what they were going with on that, and I don't know, but I almost lost with the one character that had really low, health points. But and I have no idea.
Is there any rhyme or reason to why they have low health, or is it just
in the selection menu? They have it shows that there's 3 categories. It's like health, I think that's damage, and it doesn't really. I don't even know what maybe speed. I'm not sure what the third. They don't explain what the categories are at all. It just, when you're selecting, you see 3 little bars next to them, and so I assumed the heart was the health, and I couldn't really. I think there's I forget what the icons are for the other 2, but yeah, that's the only difference, and they do look different. They're not like twins or anything, like Billy and Bobby or anything, but they do look different. But they have basically all the same moves. They just, I mean, it's nothing really unique about them. And so also their backstories and their motivation are just really unclear. There's no opening explanation of what this character's backstory is like, because there's only like 2 or 3 possible intros. So either some big dude walks in and punches a woman in the stomach and carries her off, or I think there's one where they murdered someone, where like there's a dead body laying there and then someone just walks off. And then the last one is like someone ganks something, someone like steals your gear or something and then runs off. And so that's the only backstory that you have is that single little cutscene. And then the endings, once you get through the playthrough, the ending is basically a single picture that appears on the screen for approximately 3 to 5 seconds.
Yeah.
And somehow that picture is supposed to wrap up everything. There's no text that explains what just happened. And a couple of them made sense. Like it's got some really makes no sense whatsoever, man. Like, for example, there's one where the woman gets punched and carried off, and then you beat the game. And this one, they actually went all out. It might have been the arcade mode. I'm not really sure because it was a little more depth than the other ones. And because I did the arcade one at some point, and I didn't really notice how that one ended. But the woman runs down to you, and then it shows like the one picture is like a romantic embrace. So you figure out like, okay, so someone stole your gal or something like that, or something. I can fill in those dots. All right, so here's another one. So someone steals something out of your bag, and then when you beat the last boss, nothing happens. You just stand there. Achievement pops, goes to a picture of a woman praying down by a river next to some memorial, and that's it. I don't know. So I'm not sure what they stole. Maybe they stole like an urn of ashes or something. I really was trying to figure that one out. I'm not really sure.
Maybe she's praying for all the people you killed just because they stole something from you.
Right. Well, yeah, that's the other one. Is like another one. They stole something. The ones where they're stealing stuff don't make a whole lot of sense. And so they stole something out of your backpack that looks like a laptop. And then you go across town, you're murderizing like 50 people to get your laptop back. Because at the last screen, it just shows somebody sitting there next to a laptop. And that's it. Like, okay, so I guess they stole your laptop or something. Yeah. No, I really like my laptop. I have a Surface 3 and, but I'm not, someone took it. I don't think I'd go all across Memphis, killing 50 people to get it back. But
murder spree.
Murder spree just to get my laptop. I mean, I'd be sad. Don't get me wrong. All right, but I mean, I don't think it justifies murdering 50 people. Throwing them down into the pits of despair.
Yeah. Now if they take your car and kill your dog, you go John Wick on them now.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Yeah. You're awesome. No. So anyhow, it's super retro. It's awesome. It's old school beat 'em up. I'm so sorry that I talked about it for so long, but I really like this game. I hope that everyone else gives it a chance because right now I think only 40 people have played it, and I gave it a 5 rating immediately, which brought it up to a 3 average.
Nice.
So I think it's some tough critics out there. So after you play it, make sure you give it a 5 rating.
You can't please everybody nowadays. That's for these kids.
Yeah. It was a 2 rating when I got it.
Oh, geez.
So I know.
I'll definitely have to try this one out this week.
Yeah. So anyhow, but anyway, that's mine. So that's what I brought to the table this week.
Nice. Well, I guess I'll throw mine out there now.
Yeah.
So I actually chose a game that in a genre that I don't typically play. I play a lot of different things. We're all doing achievement stuff, but more.
Yeah.
I like the big AAA games. I like the Assassin's Creeds, the Valhallas, and the Jedi Fallen Order and the Battlefront. I even enjoy a Call of Duty game every now and then. But this genre is the Vayner genre, and it's not like I don't hate the Vayner genre. I just don't find myself drawn to it. Like I know a lot of people. I've played Ori. I've played. I've actually played Castlevania and Metroid on the Nintendo.
wait. Can we visit that statement? So you said I've actually played it. So you're saying all these people that are big proponents of the Vader genre that they're frauds. They have not actually played the classics.
Well, yeah, we were actually there was a little bit of a discussion in Discord this week about how these people, I think it was me and L, like I was like, these people haven't even played what the genre is named after. And then Chewy came in and defended them, like you can't hurt people, you can't knock people for what they like and don't like just because it's named Metroidvania. And I'm like, yeah, okay, I get it, but but yeah, like I've played, I'm sure you have too. Played the original Castlevania, played the original Metroid.
Let me tell you, those Medusa heads gave me nightmares, man.
Yes. Or what was the Ninja Gaiden? The first Ninja Gaiden, man. Oof, brutal. That's not a Metroid. It's a platformer, but I mean, it was brutal. Like they put those enemies there. They were trying to kill you. Like they,
I know.
And 3 continues, 2 lives. Yeah.
All right. So I saw. When I went down to PAX a couple years ago, there's this one group called Bit Brigade that do basically someone does a speed run through a classic game while this metal band behind them provides the music. If you've never seen them, look them up on YouTube. It's phenomenal. It's so awesome live. I mean, they're just jamming. Oh man, it's so awesome. It's worth going to PAX just for that alone. And
I would.
Although they do
that.
play other venues and stuff, so you can go watch them anytime, really. But I don't know if they're touring right now. But anyway, but this dude. The dude they got playing the game up there on stage, and it's like a big screen behind him, that you can see what the screen. And this dude is he's playing Castlevania, and I was so mad because he got to the part with the Medusa heads, and he kind of paused for a second, and then he jumps right into the damn thing, this floating Medusa head, and I was like, what? And then it knocked him up to the next level, which cut off 3 minutes. Yeah. And I'm like, are you son of a bitch? I can't believe he figured that out. And he did it again. He did it twice, and he just flew through the stage in 2 minutes, not even 2 minutes. I'm like, but
I know. I go back. I got into a rabbit hole of just watching just Castlevania speedruns and world record holders and stuff, and all this stuff
stupid.
Oh god, it is crazy. And when you fight Dracula at the end, you have to let him hit you and hope he materializes at this point, because that shaves off 1.3 seconds, and they're like, oh my gosh, how do you figure this stuff out?
Jeez,
it's insane. But yeah. So the game I'm talking about today is actually it's a quite difficult Metroidvania, Vainer as they're colloquially called here in our little corner of the internet.
I like to call them Castleroids personally.
Well,
I think it sounds better.
Right? Hollow Knight Voidheart Edition. Okay. Now, I really enjoy this game. I haven't completed it. I have actually beat it, air quotes. I had to use a glitch to get invincibility, but hey, it allowed me to get some of the end game achievements. I played as far as I could into the game. I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me tell you a little bit about the game first. So it's called Hollow Knight Voidheart Edition, and it is the traditional 2D side-scroller game. And it's been a while since I played it. Probably about a year. I think last year I played maybe the last few achievements I got into it when I found that glitch. But it's set in this world where you play as you're like a bug. There's a lot of bugs and animals and stuff in the game. There's mantises and whatnot. And you have a little nail as your sword, and you go through, and it's the world is empty, and you're trying to fill it with life and go around. And there's at some point in the end, things get infected, and it's also a very dark game. It's not monochromatic. It's colorful in certain points, but it's a very overall dark looking game. It's not dark per se as violence and everything, even though it is hack and slash Metroidvania. You're just killing everything, but just dark looking. The color scheme is very dark. I've said dark so many times I can't think of another word. My thesaurus is broken.
Well, you've said glitch at least twice. I'm really curious what this glitch is.
Yeah. So you play through it, and the difficulty scale ramps up. It's a nice bell curve, but you get to a point where you're like, wow, you know, and it's one of these Metroidvanias where you kind of got to figure out what to actually do with how to get the true ending, because there's several different endings in this game, and to get the true ending, I think you actually you face the light vessel, I think it's called, and you become the light vessel anyway. But you have this, the nail is your weapon, right? And then you upgrade it, and then there's also like a dream type mirror world that you have to go into also and fight different enemies. And you can hit these enemies, they have like little bubbles around them, and you can use the dream nail on them. And when you use the dream nail on them, it goes to a different cut screen, and you fight them in like the dream world. And the good thing about that is when you fight them in the dream world, if you die in the dream world, it doesn't send you back. You don't lose any progress. It just sends you back to when you go into the dream world. So, but like to get the true ending, you have to fight the last boss. And then at one point, one of the characters you meet along the way, you befriend her. They're kind of genderless characters, but I gave her a her gender. She just seems like a her to me. She grabs the end boss, and you're supposed to use the dream nail on him, and then that takes you to a dream world, and then you fight like the light vessel, and that's how you win the game. Like that's the true ending, if I remember correctly. So, but one, if I didn't follow the guide, I would never have figured that out on my own. Two, if I didn't find the glitch to make you invincible, I never would have even got there to beat it, because some of these ending enemies are just, it's almost like bullet hell situations where there's like three spots on the screen you can be to be safe to even beat them. So my old age, my reflexes aren't nearly as good enough. I don't have enough time to put into it to learn everything. So, I got all maximum enjoyment out of I could, until I found the glitch. I couldn't get further than this part, and I was like, okay, I'm going to use the glitch. Got the glitch.
So so I'm looking at it, and like the achievement distribution for this game.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
There's so many things that are telling me like that are like red flags that are telling me to run the other direction. So we got the 60 to 80 hour completion on it. Mm-hmm. B, we got the just ridiculous TA on it.
It's 63 achievements. It's worth 1,000 gamer score, 4,421 TA.
Yeah, I mean that's not ridiculous, but it's definitely more than I'm going to play when I'm not in a certain contest. And then I look at the achievement distribution, and it looks like a really terrible roller coaster ride, in the sense that you shoot up to the moon, then you fall down, and then it's just a smooth sailing from there. So it looks like I would say probably at least 30,000 of the 40,000 people that have started this game haven't even got like more than 5 achievements. I would say.
Well, I have actually 55 achievements for 755 gamer score at 2,661 TA.
Right,
and
but I have a lot of friends in this game, and like everyone, like known. Castleroid enthusiast rocker dude has 5 points in this game. Koosh, another known Castleroid fanatic, has 42 points. So
the only on my list, I have 30 people on my friends list that have it. The only 2 people above me are Skeptical Mario, who has it completed, which is amazing, and Ben L72. I know they're both in our Discord, and they both have it completed. And then I'm sitting at 2662. So, and then I'll get into when I talk about what I don't like about this game. I'll definitely get into some of these achievements that I don't have, because there are some very, I want to say, mortal sins, I like to call them, when you get in for achievements. Man. But I mean, it also kind of...
man, we're going to do a little impromptu one list, 2 list battle list.
Right, yeah. Well, I generally like the list. Like, I look at the achievements I've won, and I'm like, and a lot of them are very doable, and very, it's just, it's going to take, 60 to 80 hours to do it. But some of it, you're just like, like if I hadn't had a guide, there's no way I would have figured this out. Like, I don't even know what I would have had to do for this one, Right. So, but using the guide on TA is great for it. It has a map, it tells you where to go, you read along, you go do it, and I followed the guide to as far as I wanted to get. And then I found the glitch, and I was like, all right, I don't need the guide anymore. I'm just going to go kill it. So, the game I'm going to compare this to, we kind of already talked about, actually Metroid. The first Metroid
I've heard of that one.
on the NES. Because I remember when I was playing that, I got to a point where I couldn't beat it. You know, you would go beat the two. You have, if you haven't played the first Metroid, spoiler alert. Anyway, if you haven't played the first Metroid, it's you go and there's two like mini bosses you have to defeat before you go in to defeat the Mother Brain Metroid, whatever. But you can get different upgrades, missiles, health packs, different weapons to shoot, and you don't start off with being able to go into a ball. And anyway, there's a lot. It's where the genre comes from. Metroidvania. You're getting upgrades. You're backtracking. You're going to different tunnels, side quests, and stuff like that. I could never beat that game. As much as I played it, I could never beat that game but Metroid has some very famous cheat codes. Do you remember any of the cheat codes from Metroid? Did you ever play Metroid?
Oh yeah. I just remember, you'd use the roll. You roll into a little ball, and then you could like blow yourself up until you could go as high as you wanted to go, kind of a thing.
Yep.
But I don't remember the actual cheat codes.
Because you could
what were they?
Because it was one of these games where the games before you had save slots and memory cards and whatnot, they would give you passwords. You got so far in a game, it would give you like
that's right,
16-digit. It wasn't hexadecimal or anything like that. I mean, I'm sure it was hexadecimal, but it would give you just a 16-digit words of just random letters and words and symbols, and that was your password, and it would save where you were, and you would have all your upgrades and whatever you got to that point. Well, Metroid had some. I mean, I don't want to say if they're very famous, but like most people that I know that played Metroid know these passwords, or at least this one. And Justin Bailey.
That's it. Yeah. I do remember that. Yeah.
You put in Justin Bailey, and I don't know if it was like the name of the son of the developer or something. I mean, that's what we always like thought it was when we were growing up. But you put in Justin Bailey, and like you leave the second line blank, and it actually gives you start with 255 missiles, which is like the maximum amount of missiles you need for the game. And then you also play without the Samus suit. So you get to see like the whole Samus in her bikini deal. And so that was like, oh, sweet. I'll just put in Justin Bailey. And you're already, if I remember correctly, you also already have the ball upgrade and you have bombs. So you already have the upgrades and you can just go and kill the last boss and beat the game.
Mother Brain.
Yeah. And so that was the only way I could beat the game. I could never play it from start to finish and beat the game the correct way, the way it was. I only ever beat it putting in different codes. I know there was another one that was like, I'm actually looking it up here, and I didn't realize this, but it was the you put in 9999999 KKKKKKK, and it actually made the game harder, which I didn't know.
Oops.
Yeah. Right. Exactly. And what else? What else did we use? All A's. That's right. We used all A's. You start with the wave beam. I remember the wave beam. But yeah. But Justin Bailey was the big code that I used to beat it, and that just reminded me of the Hollow Knight with the glitch to become invincible. Like, because I couldn't. There's no way at any point in time that I would be able to defeat the real boss in Hollow Knight.
So at this point, you've said the glitch 6 times,
yes,
I think.
Yes.
So the listeners are wanting to know: are you going to leave them hanging,
or
are you going to?
Okay, you have to. You have to.
That would be really cruel. I'm actually hoping that you don't, and just say, well, there's a glitch.
Just know it actually kind of reminds me of the Gato Roboto glitch, because it's something, and it's not nearly as difficult as getting.
Wait. There's a glitch in that game?
Yeah. That one, you get like the mini suit. Like there's a mini mech and allows you to go places with the mech that you couldn't normally go.
What?
Yeah.
Does that help you with like the 2 hard achievements in that game?
Yeah. That's all. That's if you look at the like the speed run on it done in like 20 minutes. The person does that glitch and it gives you the mini mech. And
are you kidding?
Yeah.
Me? Oh,
but the thing is, like, I could never get that. Like, once I finally learned how to do the glitch, like, I was already 45 minutes into the game when I could do it reliably. So I'm like, I should have just played it from the beginning normally.
Yeah.
But yeah. It's kind of like that. But So you have to actually play through the game until you get upgrade power. You can how in Wakapeil you get the power and you can fly through different screens. You charge up on the wall and then you jump and you fly straight across. It's similar to that. This is very similar, has a similar power like that. You charge up, you grab the wall, you charge up your power and you jump and you fly straight across. Or you charge up your sword on the ground and you jump up and, ground bash the ground. There's a lot of similarities between some of the powers with Wakamelee and this. Well, there's one. What you do is you charge up your power, and then as soon as you let go, you swing your sword or something, and it enters you. It's not quite as perfect. You don't have to get it quite as perfect as the Gato Roboto glitch, because it's very forgiving. And then it does something to where I don't know. I'm not a computer guy with video games, but it does something to where you're in between screens, so you're not on like the first layer of the game, I guess. When it was described, when I was reading the description. So you can still...
Were you like walking around on the outside of the stages?
Kind of, yeah. You can fall into you can jump into the pits and you don't fall into the pits. Like you're still in the pit and you can jump out of the pits and stuff like that.
Okay.
So,
I was thinking kind of like Elle in the Temple, where you're like walking around on the outside of the actual...
Yeah, no, you don't ever... It's not quite game breaking like that, but you can...
Okay.
Like you can still hit the enemies. The pits don't kill you. You can fall into pits and whatnot. Spikes you can walk on. Nothing will damage you. But it also, you can't use one or two of your powers. Like you can't use, I think, the Dream Nail. Like it disables a couple powers for you because of the nature of the glitch, I guess. But that doesn't stop you from, you could still, I used the glitch and I beat the game. I beat I got the best ending in the game. I got everything that, I could get with the glitch. So I got the Embrace the Void achievement, which is a 7.99 ratio. Achieve 100, the pure completion is a 6.18 ratio. So, and you go on TA and you read some of the solutions, and this is, the top solution for a lot of these achievements. And then you have people complaining like, oh, the purist versus the, it's like almost like console commands versus actually playing the game. You have the purist versus the non-purist, and you're like, well, no, like it's, play the game how you want to play the game. I got as much enjoyment as I could, and I couldn't get any further. So yeah, I cheated. Sorry. Whatever. My bad. So let me get to what I think the game did well and what the game did not do well.
Okay.
One, I think the setting of the game is just amazing. I mean, it's very deep. There's no voice acting. It's all reading. So there's no voice acting. There's not even any kind of like, how like the Civilization Revolution, they have like the wah, 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 wah for the voices. There's none of that. So it's all just text reading and text-based stuff. But the story and the world is so deep. And it was actually a Kickstarter, I think, in 2017 was what I was reading earlier. It was launched on Kickstarter. Yep. And it's published and developed by Team Cherry, if you're familiar with them. I'm not. I think this is their only game. But it's the setting and the world. The world is just so rich, and there's so much in it. And the map is big, but then once you discover everything on the map, you're going back and forth across the map, doing different quests and side quests and whatnot, going for these different achievements. And then that's really my favorite part of the game, is how the world is built and how there's so much depth and so much story in this world with the characters you meet and everything going on. And it's just so, comparable to Ori. I think it's a better veiner than Ori is, honestly. And I know I'm going to get some heat from that, but I just really enjoy Hollow Knight, and I've played both Oris. I think it's a better veiner than that. Something else it does right is the controls are tight. I think the controls are tighter than Ori. You press a button, it does what you tell it to do. It's very tight. It's very, if you mess up, it's your fault kind of thing. And it's a game where the controls have to be tight because you're fighting these really difficult bosses. There's difficult platforming sections along with kind of like certain, like I said, bullet hell type bosses where there's only 2 or 3 parts of the screen that are safe to be on when you're fighting them. So it plays well. The environment is rich, and it's just a very all around great game. Now, like you said, you have to be fair. It does do some things with the achievements that I really don't like. but I'm sure other people wouldn't care. So I believe I know your stance on this, Elroy, but what is your stance on speedrun achievements?
Oh, then go to hell.
Right? Yes. So this game,
God, they pissed me off.
Yeah, this game doesn't have one speedrun achievement. This game doesn't have 2 speedrun achievements. This game has 3 speedrun achievements.
Oh, no.
So,
that ain't happening.
So one of them is achieve 100% completion and finish the game in under 20 hours. Okay, that's not bad. Then the second speedrun achievement is complete the game in under 10 hours. Okay. And then the third speedrun achievement is complete the game in under 5 hours. So, like,
is that stackable?
They do stack. Yes. Now I don't know if it's possible to get the 5 hour and 100% game completion. I'm not sure about that, but I do know the I don't know. Actually, I'm looking at. I mean, I would assume it's stackable. There's not a stackable flag on there, but I would assume if you get it under 5 hours, you would also get the 10-hour one. So, yeah, there's not a stackable, like, it's not how if you do a difficulty, there's a stackable flag on the achievement on TA. I don't see the stackable flag on those, but I'm sure they have to be. But yeah, so there's 3 speedrun achievements in this, and it's like, oh, really? You gotta be kidding me. Yeah, so that's one, and like a speedrun achievement is not really it's not a mortal sin, but like I don't have all the achievements in Braid because of the speedrun achievement. That's the only one I need. The beat it in under 45 minutes, right? So, and then also there is a Steel Soul mode, so it's like a hardcore permadeath situation, and that's another achievement that you need to complete the game. I think it's called Steel Heart. Achieve 100% game completion and finish the game in Steel Soul mode. And Steel Soul is, you die once, you're dead. You're done. And
can you dashboard that, or is that pretty?
I'm sure you could, but it's also because the game's so tight and quick. You don't have that. You have to be very quick on dashboarding it.
So there's just a whole lot to not like about this game.
Yeah.
But if you're invincible, though, that's not an issue, though, right?
That's the thing. You get to that point where you can get the invincible achievement, but the thing is, you can't get that invincible achievement right off the bat. You have to play probably about 40 to 50% through the game to get that, I believe. So you got to put a little bit of time in before you can actually get, because you have to be able to upgrade your sword and power it up, and you don't actually start off like that. So, but I mean, I would recommend this game. It's only $15, but definitely not for if you're not a hardcore Vayner and not a completionist.
It says it's on Game Pass too.
Is it on Game Pass? I know it was on Game Pass.
It's still got the little green sticker up in the corner of it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it does. Oh, maybe I should go back to it and try to beat it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway,
use that invincibility to get that.
Right? Yeah. Well, and there's some rooms where they're like horde wave type boss rooms where you fight. There's one you ascend the Pantheon and defeat all the bosses in one run through. So it's like a boss wave type horde mode. Yeah, I definitely had to use the glitch for that. There's no way I'm going to beat all the bosses at once.
Hey,
back
man.
to back.
Like I've always said, there's you don't get an asterisk for trying, right? You get the pop just like somebody that
exactly
spent hours on end trying to study all of the. So
Yep.
Don't be a hero, man. Just get your achievement and keep moving.
No, but even with I still got a lot of fun out of this game. Even with playing the glitch and getting those last achievements.
That's cool, man. Well, and it really made you think back to Metroid days, eh?
Yeah. I remember just not being able to beat it without putting that Justin Bailey in. Because I think if you put in Justin Bailey, you only had to defeat Mother Brain. You didn't have to go fight the 2 other mini bosses.
Yeah, I just remember the old Super Mario Brothers cartoon and how Mother Brain was just this. I never really understood that character, but it was, I don't know. It wasn't, there's something about that character that just didn't make sense to me. I don't know. It didn't sound the way I thought it would sound or something. It sounded like an angry grandmother or something like that. I don't know. It just
Yeah.
I guess it was Mother Brain, but I didn't think it was Grandmother Brain. Right. I don't know. It didn't quite work for me. But
and I believe Metroid was also one of the first games like you killed the brain, but then you also had to escape. Like just because you killed the brain, you didn't beat it. Have you defeated Metroid? Have you beat Metroid?
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, you have to get back to the surface.
Yeah,
in a certain
like a timer pops up, and you're like, "Oh shoot, I can't celebrate now. I gotta go."
And then you get to the surface, and then you step into something, and then that's when she takes the helmet off for the first time. You're like, "Oh man, it's a chick." Yeah, that was kind of big.
Oh, it was huge. Like you didn't know.
Yeah, everyone's like, "Oh my god, I thought it was a dude."
Yeah,
it's a chick. Yeah. So there you go.
it was. Like, I mean, I loved, like I said, Castlevania. Simon's Quest, though, again, like Simon's Quest is my favorite Castlevania. Castlevania 2.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
Oh, what's the cut, or what does it say? What a horrible night to have a curse, or something like that.
Yeah.
What a dreadful night to have a curse, or something like that. That's so wrong, man. You'd be like so close, and then like all of a sudden it would drop, and you're like, no.
Yeah, you're like, oh my gosh, why?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, Castlevania, I don't know if that's an unpopular opinion or not, but yeah, Castlevania 2 is my favorite NES Castlevania. Because I know Castlevania 3 was the first appearance, I think, of Alucard. I
don't know.
Which, Alucard.
I'm not sure I even played 3. To be honest, I don't remember. I don't remember anything about it.
Yeah, Alucard. I think in Castlevania 3 you could actually switch characters. Like you didn't have to play as the main. I don't know if it was Simon Belmont or if you played as Alucard in that one. But yeah, you could switch characters in that one. I believe, if I remember correctly. My memory serves me.
You did not get 8 characters.
No.
Only really good games give you 8.
No, not 8 characters at all. So, but yeah, no, that's what, and I know. Yeah, so I am just 245 shy of getting the completion on this one. 8 achievements, 245 shy. I don't think that's going to happen, but we'll see.
Hey, man.
Still in Game Pass. I'll make it back to it.
Well, if you don't, you're still way ahead of all these other people that are these Castleroy frauds, as you say.
Well, yeah, sure. I'll take that. Yeah, the Castle.
Speaking of which, make sure to send Freaky all kinds of messages about the. No.
Yes. I'm on Instagram at ElroyOMJ and.
Oh man. Well, hey man, I appreciate you putting up with my somewhat gravelly voice today. I'm glad that I was able to get this done.
Great. It was great.
Yeah. So, I think we had 2 solid selections again. So.
Oh, I know we were messaging about this. Did you want to go and choose an achievement and then choose something that it reminded us of?
I don't know. We're kind of gone long. Maybe we'll introduce that feature next week.
Sounds good.
All right. So I think we should probably wrap this up. So if you have any suggestions for us, I don't know. You know where to find us, and I guess we'll catch you next time.
Yeah.
So
I'm excited for the next game for you.
Oh wow!
Yeah, the game I'm going to choose next.
Tease. I like it. All right. So by the time we talk next time, we'll be even older. So there you go.
That's right. Remember, every picture of you when you're younger, right? So
yeah, I'm the oldest I've ever been right now.
Exactly.
All right, man. Appreciate you. Thanks for listening, everyone.
Bye.
The Knights are back in town. With their swords. With their horses. And their bazooka? Knight Squad 2.
Hello, I'm Wakapeil, and I, as many others, rushed to complete Chainawesome Games After Charge before its servers closed. After Charge was in Game Pass back in the day, but the 6-player asymmetric multiplayer game never truly took off. Along with the announcement of the server closure, Chainawesome Games also delisted the game, believing no one wanted to buy it if the game would be dead within a month. They did not take achievement hunters into account when doing so. Once they were informed that some players wanted to complete the game before the server closure, many of whom didn't have access to the game any longer as they played it in Game Pass, Chainawesome Games started handing out free game keys for anyone who wanted them. They quickly ran out of keys, but they even asked Microsoft for more to distribute before the game shut down. Chainawesome Games made an honest mistake delisting the game without notice, but they went above and beyond to make it up for those who felt they missed their shot at completing Aftersharge. Many achievement hunters were familiar with their previous Xbox game, Night Squad, which was Games with Gold back in November of 2015. Night Squad is an enjoyable single-screen 8-player party game, which achievement-wise do not outstay its welcome, with a completion time around 2 to 3 hours. Most of its achievements are tied to its challenge mode, offering a fun, action-packed evening or two. Since I've never directly paid for Night Squad or Aftersharge, and Chainawesome Games being so awesome about Aftersharge, I decided to purchase their newest release, Night Squad 2, at its full price of $15. After having played it, I can say that under the circumstances, I do not regret paying full price for it, but unfortunately the game is not for me. Night Squad 2 is a multiplayer-only, single-screen party game for 8 players. You can play alone with bots, but I find that option pretty unexciting. It features 13 different modes with tons of customization options. The only obvious option missing is setting the number of bots, which is an all-or-nothing toggle. Night Squad 2 has a very easy achievement list, especially if you have a second player or controller helping you unlock them. The bots do their best to mess up your game, as they should, and even the easiest bots, while not very challenging on their own, can easily overwhelm you as there are 7 of them. As mentioned, I found no option to change the number of bots, just disable them if you had 2 or more human players or controllers. I tried unlocking all the achievements against bots and was mostly successful, even though it would have been easier and faster just using a second controller plugged in, allowing you to easily fulfill the achievement requirements. The only 2 achievements I found too annoying with bots was the Soul Reaper achievement for depositing 20 souls of fallen enemies in one go, and the Cowardly Goal, which required you to freeze your enemies while scoring a goal in the soccer mode. With bots, the Blue Shell achievement for killing the leader while you're in last place in the game's race mode sounded difficult, but you can just let the bots lap you and hit the leader in the face as it's about to pass you. The achievement list would be doable in less than an hour if it wasn't for 2 grindy achievements. Killing 2,500 knights is best done against bots in the Juggernaut mode. Once you're good at it, you can get around 300 kills in 5 minutes, but will probably average around 200 kills, including match setup and load screens. It'll take a bit over an hour to grind out all the kills. There's also an achievement for destroying 2,500 blocks, which is easiest to do on the forest map, as the blocks regrow and you won't have to restart the game every time you run out of destructible blocks. If you're just going for the achievements, you're unlikely to get much progress with kills and blocks before you dedicate time for them. One thing to keep in mind is that you need 1,000 kills with 1 of the 16 playable knights to unlock the Swordsmith achievement. Night Squad 2 has 17 achievements worth 1,000 game score and almost 1,600 TA, which surprised me as it is a very easy completion in 2 to 3 hours. This is probably because many players of the close to 600 who have played the game on TA play the game for fun and not focusing on the achievements. Night Squad 2 is a fun, very polished, fast-paced single-screen party game, offering both online and offline multiplayer. I can see it being very fun to play with friends and family. Unfortunately, I'm not in a position to do so at the moment. $15 is a fair asking price for Night Squad 2, but if you're in a similar situation as me, the lack of proper single player makes the achievement list the only motivator to play the game. The achievements are quick and easy and offers an enjoyable hour or two if played for achievements. But Night Squad 2 is much better if you play it as intended, with a bunch of friends hacking, slashing and stabbing each other over and over again. given Chainawesome Games' previous games being offered as games with gold and in Game Pass, I really hope Night Squad 2 will as well. Have a nice day, everyone.